Hi beautiful souls, welcome to the transit video. I'm so excited to be here with you guys doing this video today. So what's exciting about this video is we're going to be talking specifically about the transits for each of the zodiac signs, moon, ascendant, and rising. And we're going to be talking about how it's impacting your houses. So before I get started, I'm going to be giving a brief summary of 2024, what the theme was for 2024, because that's going to show you what is going to be the next step or growth or process into 2025. What trajectory are we on and what direction are we moving in? I'm also going to be talking about giving you a little bit of an intro on how to read a North Indian chart. I'm going to be displaying the charts for each of these zodiac signs. So I created a key for you guys so it's easy for you to read, and I'm going to talk about how you read the North Indian chart. If you haven't done it before, it's just going to be really quick. So I highly recommend that you watch the brief summary, you listen to how we read the Indian chart for a couple minutes, and then if you want to skip on over to the part where I talk about the transits and how they're playing out in each of the signs, the zodiac 12 exotic signs, and you can go ahead and skip over to that part. Otherwise, I'd highly recommend that you stick with me and we deep dive into the current themes of what energetically is showing up for us now, which has been incredible. It's been amazing. And then the 2025 themes that are going to be showing up, because that way you have a very thorough understanding of what some of the planets are doing. I also have available for you guys a PDF that I created. So this PDF shows the impactful transits that are going to be showing up for 2025. Now, for this reading that we're doing today, these transit themes, we're mainly paying attention to the outer planets and the larger planets. So it will be Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, as well as Rahu and Ketu, the north and south node, and Saturn and Jupiter. Other than that, we're not going to be paying attention to any of the other transits because it's just too many themes to keep up with. We mainly want to take into consideration what are the bigger themes that are going to be playing out in your life that are going to bring like major shifts or changes in your 2025. So the title I came up today is Spiritual Evolution and Spiritual Revolution. That is what 2025 is looking like, guys, and I'm so excited to share with you my findings and share with you my insight into what I feel like is showing up for us energetically. Feel free to download the PDF file. It's going to be available in the description box. If you'd like to download those transits, then you can go ahead and check that out and keep track of what is going on with these exciting shifts that are coming up for us. Okay, so let's go ahead and start out with the brief summary of 2024. So this is the image I came up with for 2024. This was the year of sort of deep inner growth. This was the cocooning year in preparation for the bigger transformation that was meant to take place. So at the time that I'm currently shooting this is our current transit. And I actually labeled one of the charts the world chart because it starts with an Aries ascendant. So essentially it doesn't matter what ascendant sign you are, this is energetically what's happening out here in the world, the bigger collective shift that's showing up for all of us. The bigger theme this year was safety and security, finding that cocooning energy. Now this channel is particularly dedicated to those who resonate with the 144 sacred mission, being a starseed or an old soul. This is primarily what this channel is here for, because this is what I'm here to teach and help you guys with navigating, and this is what I'm navigating in my own life. I'm having to navigate the workings of what's going on within me, tuning into my psychic abilities, getting activated, and getting those inner activations and going through my own personal spiritual evolution here. So that's what's been going on. You've been going through a growth spurt in 2024. And this is going to birth some incredible manifestations moving forward into 2025. This has been the year of the wounded healer. The reason being is because Ketu was transiting Virgo. This is the year of the wounded healer, where we were having to heal our wounds through feeling our pain and through the limitations. So many of us have been spending a lot of time at home, perhaps cocooning, hermiting, Virgo energy. K2 in Virgo is like a double emphasis on hermiting because K2 is spiritual and Virgo is spiritual purification. So this has been a purification year, and it's been a year where through the purification process, we've been given access to revelations and insight on how to build a better life for ourselves. We've also been tuning into our dreams, right? What are those childhood dreams or those pure essence dreams that were always there inside of us that are wanting to come alive at this point in time? We're all being called to really and truly reassess what matters to us, what's important to us, and what we truly want to do. So the Wounded Healer has been helping us to alleviate and to release and heal the past life karmas and our karma in general that we are here to release and let go of so that we can move into our dharmic cycle. End of the karmic cycle, moving into the dharmic cycle. With the clock displayed here, this clock is putting an emphasis on the importance of patience. So with Saturn being in its own signs, Capricorn 2020, and it entered into Aquarius in 2023, there's been this huge emphasis of delay and putting things off, primarily for those that have been activated during this period of time, because you are being called to really strengthen and build yourself up into being able to receive the material responsibility of what the universe wants to give to you. Prior to being given and being blessed with that material responsibility, you have to be built with the muscles to carry it, the inner spiritual muscles within yourself. So this has been a year of delay and having to be patient for those manifestations. So I got a little bit of a tornado happening here, a shift that's happening here. And that's because it's very much been that Wizard of Oz year where we are all Dorothy in the land of Oz, and we're trying to find our way back home to ourselves, so way back home to our heart, to feeling our heart, to tuning into our heart. And it's felt a little internally, I wouldn't say a little, it's felt generally internally stormy, where the storm isn't alleviating itself, and we keep finding ourselves being tossed up over and over again through our experiences and just through our mental and emotional processes that we're experiencing. But all of that has been there to give us access to knowledge and wisdom that is empowering us, and the true wealth, as we come to learn through our difficult experiences, is knowledge and wisdom. Wisdom is like gold in the astral realms and in the heavens, and that is where we're most certainly being recognized when we're going through those difficult experiences. So delay, having things being put off, not trying to fix a situation, letting it be muddy, and going through your purification process like the lotus flower and the mud, that has been this year of 2024. So now we are ready to move forward. We've been grieving, and to sum it up really quickly, this has been the year of how to train your dragon. This is the year of how to train your dragon. That dragon is your fierceness. It's your inner spiritual warrior who's always there inside of you. It's your soul's strength and essence coming out of you, your spiritual strength coming out of you that is fierce. But in order for you to train your dragon, you're going to have to learn how to face your shadow, because the dragon represents that shadow aspect of ourself that needs to be tamed. And so instead of trying to kill the dragon or conquer the dragon, we have to train it. We have to train it to work in our benefit so that we can ride that dragon into our magic land and find our beautiful castle. So this has been the year of the dark night of the soul, of you being the knight who is loyally focusing on the mission of purifying your heart and taming your dragon. All right, and a quick preview into 2025. I feel like this is going to be the year of how to harness your snake. That's right. 2025 is going to be about how to harness your snake, how to harness your shakti, kundalini power. And we're going to dive further into that later on. Now let's give a brief intro on the North Indian chart here before we deep dive into the theme. So this is a chart I created for you guys. I wanted to bring some visuals. You know, y'all know I like colors, I like visuals, so I wanted to bring the planets into the charts. So I lined them all up so you can identify it. So we have Moon, Sun, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus. This is Mars, Venus, Mercury, Rahu, and Ketu, North Node and South Node. And the way that I created the chart, so the North Indian chart, you read it counterclockwise. And for each of the ascendant sun and moon signs, the ascendant sun and moon is going to be in the first house, the ascendant house. So from that place, you're going to be relating to the rest of the chart. Now, what does the sun, moon, and ascendant represent? I think you have your own interpretation based off of your own life experiences. If you've been into astrology before, you already have an intuitive understanding for what those represent in your life. I like to interpret it as the moon represents our perception, how we're perceiving our reality. The sun represents our self, our ego, our confidence. So this is what we want to do, our desires and urges of what we want to take action and put out into the world. The ascendant is a representation of what's happening to you. So sort of what you're on the receptive end of receiving. So the moon you're perceiving, the ascendant you're receiving, and I feel like the sun sign you're putting more of that energy out because it's solar, you're putting that out into the world. So in this example here, now I think some of you guys are already familiar with the signs, those zodiac signs. I'm sure you've seen them a million times, right? We got first house Aries, second house Taurus, third house Gemini, fourth house Cancer, and so forth, counting counterclockwise through the signs. So the first house, so this is the ascendant side here with Aries. That's going to be typically where you're going to be most impacted. Whatever is going to be shifting or transiting that house is where you're going to experience the most significant impact throughout the year, right? And then so forth, whatever other planets are transiting those houses. Okay. So that's essentially how to read the North Indian birth chart. I'm just keeping it really simple for you guys. And now we're going to dive into the themes for the current themes that we're experiencing and the current transits that we are experiencing as well. So I like to call this the world chart. So this one is color coded, which is nice. It makes it a little bit easier. This is the world chart. So this is sort of what's happening in the world. This is some of the collective themes you're going to see in the world that are playing out here. And this is what the chart looks like. So I'm going to talk about the themes here. So the current theme that we have playing out is Pluto entered into Capricorn in February 20th, 2020. And it's going to be there. Actually, let me double check this on the transits. Yeah, okay. It's going to be there until January 2040. So this is a 20-year long transit. This is a longer than usual transit. That means that Pluto's doing a lot of retrogrades. So retrogrades are really good opportunities for us to redo something or rethink something or reflect on something. So during these years, there's going to be a lot of reflection that's going to actually help to aid in our transformation, right? So Pluto represents transformation in Capricorn, particularly through hard work, our life purpose, legacy, and success. And we're going to find ourselves reassessing the experience until we essentially perfect it. That's what retrogrades do. They help us to perfect the experience. So Pluto entered into Uttara Ashada in December 26 of 2019. So this is 26 degrees, 40 minutes Sagittarius, and it's going to be there until January 2027, 10 degrees Capricorn. Uttara Ashada is primarily rulership is the sun, and then we have Jupiter and Saturn. So these are the big players. Uttara Ashada is a huge transformative nakshatra, which is why confidence has been a huge theme with the sun being there. There's a huge theme around transforming and becoming more confident in yourself. So this already started back in 2019, right before there is this like onslaught of COVID and the pandemic happening, which is very interesting. So Uttara Ashada is about the transformation through overcoming obstacles, us realigning to the universal will. So this is where we give up our personal desires for the sake of the universal will, because Uttarashada is Capricorn. Capricorn is the most mature earth sign, and it's about giving back. So this is about, okay, I want to manifest things, but what kind of things can I manifest that's in alignment with the universal will? Uttarashada is about overcoming those very difficult obstacles which help you to master the soul peak of the human experience. The soul peak of the human experience represents the 10 Vishadevas, or the universal gods. These are all the previous signs or nakshatras that were experienced before. I think Uttarashada it's the 21st nakshatra. So this would have been a culmination of 20 nakshatras before it, and all the signs before it. Basically, Aries through Sagittarius. It's culminating all of those energies. So the Vishadevas, the 10 Vishadevas, represent goodness, truth, skill, willpower, time, desire, firmness, ancestors, brightness, and peak. A huge theme with Pluto being in its own sign is patience, because Uttarashada represents or translates into later victory. So this is where you're having to really commit, truly put in the commitment to your dreams and your goals. So perhaps some of you have been in pursuit of building your dreams or building towards your dreams, maybe around that time, 2019 or 2020, but they haven't come to full fruition, and it's perhaps been quite difficult to push through obstacles. Now, I want to point out that I noticed that Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune play a significant role in particularly light workers' lives. Now, it plays a part in all of our lives, but all of these outer planets, Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune, have a connection to one another. They're sort of in each other's signs or sub-ruler signs. There's a kind of a connection that's happening between those planets, and I'm going to talk more about it later, why that is. But I noticed that there is particularly a significance around higher consciousness, and those who are operating at a higher level of consciousness, it's impacting us significantly. So we're being pulled into, the higher you go in a collective consciousness, the more you're being called to work with the collective will, right? So there's a huge, you might have felt like you were being tugged and pulled all over these past few years in terms of what you're wanting to do. Maybe you've been feeling an inner tug inside of you that's been strong because you're being called into your life purpose with Pluto being in Capricorn. The Uttarashada is also about fearlessness. It's connected to Ganesh. So Ganesh is the one who overcomes obstacles. He had his head chopped off through protecting poverty. And that's why he has an elephant head. So it's that fearlessness that helps us to overcome. It's the fearlessness that's rewarded on the other side, right? Taming your dragon or training your dragon. So fearlessness through a continuous purification process of death and birth is particularly what's happening with Pluto being in Uttarashada. So there's this continuous purification process, this cleansing work that just keeps happening where you're grieving, releasing, feeling lighter, grieving, releasing, feeling lighter, grieving, releasing, feeling lighter, over and over, very repetitive. So with Neptune entered into Pisces in April 2020, and it's going to be there until 2037. So this is a long theme that's playing out as well. So Neptune is connected to the mystics, the artists. These are the people who have been activated and who have been called, particular into these light worker energies. So I know a lot of you guys are very creative and you have a lot of unique abilities, and that's because the universe had a plan and an intent to use you for your creative abilities to be able to connect with others and help them to wake up too. So that's the huge agenda that's playing out for the light workers. So Neptune represents dreams, delusions, higher states of consciousness, creative genius, and the spiritual evolution. So Pluto's transformation, Neptune's evolution. We are evolving. So Neptune helps us to evolve. The issue with Neptune, though, is it can make you very delusional. You might find there's a lot of people who don't seem stable or grounded. But if you are a 144 Sacred Mission light worker who's done a lot of past life work and shamanic work before, and your soul has that experience, you'll be able to ground. It'll be difficult, but you'll actually find yourself being able to ground relatively well. So this is a time for us to activate our dreams, our artistry. A really good native to connect with Neptune and Pisces would be Van Gogh. So I had a vision years ago when I started this channel, and it was a reading talking about artists or something like that, or what you're here to do, what your purpose is. And I was picking up Uranus and Neptune, and I looked at Van Gogh's birth chart, and it turns out he has I don't either 2 or 3 placements in Pisces, and I've never seen his chart before. I enjoyed his work. Studying some of his work in art school and in class, I thought his work was always beautiful, but he always gave me this Neptuning energy. So that's exactly, he very much embodied the Neptuning energy of creativity. So dreams, illusions, but at a higher level, Neptune is connected to higher states of consciousness. So we use our psychic abilities, our intuitive abilities to essentially evolve in our consciousness. And we end up giving very wise knowledge or information or advice, sage advice to people through our Neptuning energies. We paint, we create, we make, we manifest, and we put out things into the world that's here to help people elevate in their spiritual evolution. It's not just because we want to create something that's really pretty and make a lot of money. We ain't about that life. No. So Neptune being in Purvabhadrapada, so it entered into Purvabhadrapada around April 2022, and it looks like it's going to be there until January in 2025. So this is where the transit's going to take place in 2025. So Purvabhadrapada takes place in 20 degrees Aquarius to 3 degrees 20 minutes Pisces. Its primary rulership is Jupiter, with Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Ketu falling after that. So are you seeing a connection here? Uttara, Sun, Jupiter, Saturn. Purvabhadrapada, Jupiter, Saturn. No sun, but we got Uranus, Neptune. So there's this strong emphasis around the outer planets here. But with Neptune and Purvabhadrapada and Jupiter being a faster moving planet, I feel like there's been lots of intense shifts that you've been experiencing with that Neptune and Pisces. So Purvabhadrapada represents the front funeral cot, or it also translates into former lucky feet. So it represents luck, but you receive this luck through delayed success. And a really good story to connect with this is Count of Monte Cristo. If you've ever read the book, which is huge, or you've ever watched the movie, Edmond Dantes was this lighthearted, loving person, had a beautiful relationship with his father. At one point in the beginning of this movie, he has his best friend and his fiance who he's with, and is his soulmate he's in love with. And everything just seems to be improving for the best for Edmond's life. And he ends up getting a promotion. Him and his friend is like more wealthy, but his friend all the while is harboring so much jealousy towards him and his fiance and everything that he has, and he wants everything just because he has it. But he has just this beautiful life. But just like that, his friend betrays him and everything is taken away. He's imprisoned. He loses his fiance and his father dies. And it puts him into a depression, and he starts to go through a dark night of the soul, his spiritual evolution. So this period of time with Purvabhadrapada, 2022 to 2025, has been about the dark night of the soul. That is the big theme that's been playing out, the dark night of the soul. But at the end, towards the end, what he did is he took revenge. He decided to strengthen himself. He became tough, and he decided to take revenge on his friend, but he changed his mind, and he decided in the end, it's not worth it. He gave it all up, and everything returned to him. He somehow found his way to wealth. He became more intelligent. He didn't let anyone take advantage of him from that point in time, but he became bitter. And then at some point, he reopened up his heart. So maybe you've been going through experiences where you've been feeling a lot more bitter towards life, and then you've had to let go. So Purvabhadrapada is about this dissolution, right? So all of the things that you thought were real or important just fall away, right? He had that friendship. He just lost that friendship. His father died. He lost his fiance. He lost his promotion, the job that he received, his dream job. It all fell away because whether he knew it or not, he was actually paying for past life karmas. I know it's a fictional book, but he was paying for his past life karmas. That's what was going on. Why did this wonderful guy get all of that. It's because it was there to strengthen his spirit. And through this process, he was able to integrate his dark shadow side. Perhaps you've also been tuning into your oasis at home, and you've been doing a lot of astral travel in your sleep, and that's been helping you to heal. That is what Pruta Bada Pada is all about. Now let's talk about Uranus. So Uranus is about the revolution, right? We have the spiritual evolution. Now we have the spiritual revolution. Uranus entered into Aries in 2016 and is going to be, or has shifted into Taurus. It's doing a little bit of a retrograde and then moving forward. So 2024 to 2031 is when this is happening in Taurus. So that's why we're going through changes, not just around our leadership capabilities and feeling more empowered within ourselves, but we're also being called to reassess how we connect to our material experience, our body, money, resources, and maybe even the Maya of life. So Uranus represents revolution, radical change, confusion, a sort of rebellious energy, and even approach to leadership. So we're revolutionizing our approach to leadership. Now, as far as how this applies to light workers, to be a light worker, you have to be very rebellious. You're going against pretty much all of society and everything that you've been taught in this world. You have to be rebellious and you have to be courageous to think different, to share these different viewpoints. It takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there in a different way. So this has been a time of the universe building leaders. Some of them are out there sharing their light worker work. Some of them have been healing and doing all of that work. Some of us have been activated just recently, but we've been, maybe throughout the years doing our work as well and healing and cleansing as well. I've always been into healing and family psychology and learning how to overcome those challenging emotions within myself. And I know that you have a very similar experience for yourself too. So you're being called into leadership with this Uranus and Aries. Uranus is the intellectual genius, right? So it's connected to Aquarius. Neptune is a heightened version of Venus, is what people say, but I kind of feel like it has sort of its own vibe going on. Uranus is connected to Aquarius there. So intellectual genius, innovative approach or mindset to accessing freedom. So this is about, okay, how do we create freedom? But for a light worker, we're not about creating freedom and like protesting in the streets. You can do that. This is about really creating real impact and real change in the individual. How do you completely free yourself? You have to free yourself through the Maya. So you've been in a process of liberating yourself of the illusion, the matrix, or the Maya. This has been a time perhaps where you've been reassessing how you make money, the foods you want to eat, how you connect to your body, fitness, and that is the spiritual evolution. Uranus entered into Kritika, 26 degrees. So Kritika is 26 degrees, 40 minutes Aries to 10 degrees Taurus. So it entered into Taurus around April 1st of 2024. And like I said, it's going to be transiting until 2031. So we still have about 7 years of this transit here. It'll finish its transit through Taurus in 2031. Kritika, it'll probably complete its transit maybe in a few years. So Kritika is about purification through fire. This is like baptism by fire. Kritika is about being critical, disciplined, militant, and bursts of anger. So that's perhaps why there's been maybe some combative energy on the internet, intense energy on the internet. Maybe this is why people are resonating with certain leaders who are more militant, have more intense bursts of anger, is because they feel like this person represents a revolutionary savior to them in some way and is going to give them access to more freedom and in their needs and what they're being called to do. But I also feel like this relates to some of the gatekeeping that's happening around spirituality or how people are communicating their concepts and ideas, but maybe just gatekeeping in general. There's a lot of that. There's also a lot of people criticizing celebrities. I've noticed that to be a huge theme that's been on the up and up. I'll be happy when Uranus exits out of Kritika, because then we'll start to have much more of a calming demeanor and disposition and energy that's being put out into the universe, where people are saying and thinking nicer, kinder things. But yeah, there's been a lot of people are criticizing their celebrities and other people and what they're doing. That's a huge theme on the internet right now. But in general, Uranus being in Kritika is helping us to break free of materialism, break free of our own personal limitations, and and how we want to pioneer our pathway. This is us rebelling to the old belief systems and inventing or channeling a new one. At a higher level, for a light worker, rebelling to old belief systems and inventing a new one is about channeling what the divine is here to help us connect with, what's true to us, what's going to keep us really authentic. So that's been the huge shift. That's why leadership has been important. And wherever this is transiting in your chart, best believe you are feeling rebellious. You are feeling like putting yourself out there. You know, some of you are feeling like a little sassier, perhaps, during these period of years. You're like, you know what? I'm going to go out there, express myself, tell people how I really feel. So Rahu entered into Pisces, and Ketu entered into Virgo October 30th, 2024. So this is a north and south node. 2024, interestingly enough, was the year of the wood dragon. So this is the year of how to train your dragon. So Pisces represents the spiritual renaissance, psychic abilities, flow and create, manifestation, spiritual life. So with Rahu being there, all of that is amplified. But Rahu also exaggerates. It also makes you obsessive and sometimes insincere. So you have some people who are coming out, they're talking about spirituality. Are they sincere, or are they desiring to get something out of it for themselves? And us, are we checking ourselves when we're talking about certain things? Are we aligning it with the truth? Are we finding ourselves centered, or are we just communicating things and saying we're a spiritual leader? You got to be careful of that, because it's easy to be delusioned by your own desires during this period. So Rahu in Pisces is helping to activate a spiritual life purpose for a lot of people. So people who have felt called to a spiritual life purpose, you might have energies in Pisces or Virgo or aspects connected to these. That's, you know, so like an aspect, a really strong aspect would be if you have Virgo or Pisces. Actually, that's, yeah. Those are the signs. So if you have any connection to those signs, you're definitely being activated. If you have any planets there, you're definitely being activated. Perhaps you've always felt called to a spiritual life. You're coming out of the spiritual closet. So this has been the year of coming out of the spiritual closet. Really talk about how you really feel about your beliefs, and your intuitive abilities and your psychic abilities are activating here. It also represents romance, love, and partnership. So that's been a common theme in the readings a lot, like a lot about romance. But during this period and with the Purva Bada Pada, it's more of the healing experience, because we've been going through the dark night of the soul. So are we yet ready to experience this wonderful relationship dynamic yet? First, you have to heal, right? Things need to fall apart, and then we create a solid new foundation that's built out of sincerity before we can build these loving partnerships. So I think there's more of an underground of energies that are building, percolating underneath the surface here. So yeah, romance has been a huge theme. Maybe people have been feeling connected to romance, but again, you just got to watch for those energies first, because Rahu can make it delusional and not so sincere. With Virgo, Ketu being in Virgo, this is like a double emphasis on purification. So intense purification, cleansing, releasing the mental clutter, particularly because Virgo is connected to Mercury. We got all that mental clutter. It's about analyzing, reassessing how we think things. So I'm sure a lot of you have been just like, oh my gosh, like my mind is just like crazy. But it gives you the opportunity to release, right? So release control, release the clutter, release perfectionism, because Ketu is sort of connected to perfectionism, especially with Virgo there. You know, there's a perfectionistic, wanting to perfect, you know, spirituality or purification, wanting to be perfect yourself. And these are just subconscious beliefs that you have to release during this period. This has been a period of spiritual research, detachment, self-improvement, hermiting times 2, because Virgo and Ketu represent detachment and hermiting, isolation and healing. This has been a period of healing and cocooning. So some of you might be wondering, well, why aren't things taking off? It's time to heal. That's why. When the nodes switch, it'll be time to maybe get more out there, put yourself more out there, but you have to be honorable of the universe's timing. The universe knows best. So we have here Saturn in Aquarius. It entered into Aquarius January 17th of 2023, and it's going to be there until March 2025. So when I talk about the 2025 themes, you're going to see where it goes next. Obviously, it's pretty apparent what's going to happen. So that'll be a very significant period. So Saturn in Aquarius is about becoming a humanitarian, with Pluto being in Uttarashada and being about the universal will. Again, all of these planets are working together, even Rahu and Pisces. They're all working together to help us realign to the universal will. That's why I'm saying this is the time of the light workers waking up. So becoming a humanitarian, one who serves humanity with humility through inner and outer pressures of life. That's Saturn. It puts that pressure on your life to build you up. It makes you take responsibility. Someone would tell you, oh, you need to take responsibility and get a job. You need to take responsibility and, there is some practical advice, but for a light worker, things don't apply the same. The highest spiritual responsibility is taking accountability for thyself, taking care of yourself, taking care of what's going on in here, and taking care of what's coming out here. How are you engaging with people? How are you connecting, responding with people? That is the spiritual responsibility that you're taking care of as well. And it's also very karmic energy. Saturn and Aquarius in its own sign, Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn, very karmic. So this is a period for you to learn how to become one who serves humanity with humility, because Saturn always humbles you. Wherever Saturn is aspecting, it can give you power, but first, it's going to give you pain. It will give you power, but first it will give you pain by putting pressure on you. It's going to give you a challenge around that area. If you have certain aspects, for example, a Saturn in the 5th house aspecting the 7th house and the 2nd house would challenge your relationships. So wherever you have not been responsible previously in partnerships, those relationships are going to fall apart. And part of the responsibility is being honest with yourself and acknowledging when a relationship is not working. That's part of your spiritual responsibility. Staying in a relationship dynamic that is not for you is part of your spiritual responsibility that you have to take accountability for. So you might have felt intense pressure when it came to your relationships. Aquarius can be connections, friends, right? Maybe you've just been feeling very disconnected from people here. With Saturn aspecting the 2nd house of your immediate family, this is where you're having to take accountability for how you connect to your family. Perhaps you've had to realign with the karma connecting to your family members. Saturn in the 5th house or aspecting the 5th house, this is time for you to take responsibility with your children or what you're putting out there, your creations, your creative projects. You have to make sure you are sincere. You have to make sure you're engaged. You have to make sure you're living up to the responsibility you're supposed to take on when it comes to that. So maybe you're having to go through some karmic things with your kids, with your partners, with your friends, with your family. That's what Saturn will do. But it also helps you, Saturn in Aquarius helps you to realign with your destiny through delays, pressure, discipline, patience. It's also a powerful healer activation. This is an opportunity for you to become a diamond. Saturn in Aquarius makes diamonds. Remember that. You are a diamond. Okay. Are you guys ready to move into 2025? So 2025, this is going to be the year where you get to harness your snake. Harness your shakti. So Pluto is going to be in Uttara Shada until 2027. That theme is going to remain the same. I know some of you are like, oh no, but thankfully we have some really incredible shifts that are happening. There's like some just insane shifts that are happening in 2025. So those are going to help to alleviate it and shift the energy somewhat. So Neptune will be moving into Uttara Bhadra Pada, which is going to be 3 degrees, 20 minutes Pisces on January 15th, 2025. So Uttara Bhadra versus Purvabhadra Pada is relating to more of this uninhibited imagination, dreams, and feeling boundless. So you're going to feel a lot more liberated and a lot more free and less restricted during this period. But Uttara Bhadra Pada is still connected to Saturn, so you're still going to feel that pressure because Uttara Bhadra Pada, it's the Cinderella Nakshatra. So a really good native who has this, I love her. I watched her documentary on Hulu and I looked her up and I'm like, oh my gosh, she married a prince. That's crazy. I think she was a Jewish girl who her mother was in a concentration camp and she had some childhood trauma, but her life was incredible. Diane von Furstenberg is a Uttara Bhadra Pada native. This is the Cinderella Nakshatra. So every person is going to be having some Cinderella dreams, activations during this year. Best believe the things that you've always desired for, it's going to start manifesting in 2025. And it's going to start igniting around January 15th. I know it's not that time yet. And you're like, well, couldn't it be sooner? I know, but be patient, do your resting, and eventually your cocooning period will end. So Neptune being in Uttada Bhadrapada brings about fertility of dreams. So your dreams are going to manifest. It's connected to the serpent of the depth, or the serpent of the deep, who's also connected to the earth core. So this is about sort of working behind the scenes, quietly, silently, doing your dutiful work. And then eventually you are recognized out of the blue, kind of Cinderella, right? She was just sort of recognized out of the blue. But it was due to her sincerity, her hard work, her discipline. So Diane von Furstenberg, even though she married a prince, which was crazy, right? She put in so much. She was so passionate about her work, her job, and what she did. She worked very hard. And I can only desire to be passionately living my life the way that her life was a little bit more very free-spirited, let's just say it like that. But I can only hope to pursue my dreams in the way that she persistently pursued hers. And inventive, the wrap dress. She's just incredible. I love her. So Uranus will shift into Taurus again in March of 2025. So it's doing a little retrograde into Aries, and then it'll go back forward into Taurus in March of 2025 through to July 2031. So during this time, this is when there's going to be some random, like out of the blue manifestations that's going to show up for every single one of you. So Uranus in Taurus is a radical shift in upheaval in finances, resources, the material world. This is the time to break free of the traditional values when it comes to resources. So we're no longer trying the old-fashioned way of making money. Now it's time to let go, do things differently. At a higher state of consciousness, you can tap into higher states of consciousness to manifest. And the way that you actually rise in your higher states of consciousness is you open your heart. You open your mind and you open your heart. That's how you manifest. I'm telling you right now, what is the secret? How am I going to work with this energy? You rise into higher states of consciousness. And the secret is rest. Why are we cocooning, guys? We're preparing for the Uranus moving into Taurus. We have to rest to receive those manifestations because it helps your energy to relax, and you naturally, internally just rise into a higher state of consciousness. So Uranus being in Kritika 2024 to 2027 is also related to fire converting into earth. So Kritika is a very fiery nakshatra, right? The fiery outburst, very intense. It can give someone a strong personality, but also just a strong temper. But it has the ability to manifest. So these people, natives who have this placement, have the ability to manifest through their diligence and their hard work, their intensity. But Kritika is also purification, right? So it's helping to burn away the karma through fires of knowledge. So again, where is the wealth? The true wealth is knowledge and wisdom. You burn away your karma and you receive the knowledge, the revelations. Kritika is connected to a celestial university and also the peacock. So definitely this is a period to stand out, wear those beautiful colors, know that that's you shining the way you're meant to. So Rahu will enter into Aquarius and Ketu will enter into Leo May 18th, 2025. So my theory is this is truly going to be the year of the serpent because it's also the year of the wood snake. So we had the dragon before and now we have the wood snake. I'm like, that's not shocking. That's not a coincidence. So May, this will be the 5th month of the year, is when we're going to be feeling these really intense shifts. And I feel like that actually is going to be a really great time where we're going to be experiencing more of the collective energies of coming together with soul tribes. I think that's going to be a very good period for that. But otherwise, intuitively just sense for timing of things. So to me, the serpent is connected to our Kundalini awakening or healing. So I think this is going to be a period for us to rise into higher states of consciousness and harness that shakti energy. That's our life force energy. To be able to use your sexual creative life force energy, to harness it is to redirect it for the highest good. So the serpent is also connected to being Moses' staff. So Moses' staff became the serpent. Also, it's called a rod or the spinal column or the tree of life. All right, here's some like big clues that are popping out, some occult clues that are popping out here with Moses' staff. So it's actually representing our Kundalini awakening. The staff also represents protection from the universe. So the more that we harness our Kundalini awakening and our Shakti life force energy, the more we find ourselves protected. So you'll be like, wow, how am I taken care of? That's because you're redirecting your Shakti and your life force energy for the highest good. There are so many people who they don't even know what to do with their Shakti. They don't know how to discipline it. They don't know how to work with it. And therefore, that's why their desires are all over the place and very undisciplined. So Rahu in Aquarius is about letting go of your personal desires in exchange for the collective goals and partnerships. So that's why I was saying partnerships is going to be a huge emphasis right around that time of the year. So Rahu having a co-rulership connection to Aquarius amplifies unconventional and unusual experiences in the collective. So Rahu's always bringing unusual experiences. That's why we're hearing so much about the ETs, the aliens. A lot of that's coming out because Pisces is, it's about space. It's about the ether. It's about psychic abilities and aliens and all of that. So all of that is coming out into open, but it's in the way that it's showing up in media. That's a way for the general collective to feel comfortable with it. But there's, the light workers know there's so much more going on here than aliens and whatnot. There's so much more going on. But you have to have developed your consciousness in order to know that. Otherwise, you don't. So Rahu also has a co-rulership connection to Aquarius. So I feel like this is actually going to amplify the energy of unconventionality. So things are going to be quite intense this year. Let's just say it like that. And then Saturn has a connection. Like Saturn's going to be entering into Pisces. So I'm telling you, it's almost going to be like we're going through what we went through this year, but more amplified and more of a physical manifestation experience of it. Because with Rahu and Aquarius, it's going to become more apparent in the collective. Pisces energy can be spacey. We're imagining things, like it's our imagination, what we're imagining. But in the Aquarius, it's more apparent in the collective based off of human behavior and what people are doing. You'll see that play out. Okay, so also a really good time for you to experience an ego death with K2 being in Leo. Ego death. So this is about you setting aside your own personal desires for the sake of how do I work with other people? And with Pluto being in Uttarashada, there you go again. The same theme playing out again. So Saturn's going to be entering into Pisces March 30th. So this will be sort of the beginning of the year. And I think it was March 29th or 30th, around that time. And during that time is when we're going to have like a significant 6 planetary conjunction. Once Saturn enters into 0 degrees Pisces, it's going to be 2 degrees away from Neptune. It's already moving closer and closer to Neptune. So there's some influences that are playing out as we speak. So it was in Pruta Pada Pada. We talked about that. It's going to be moving into Uttada Pada Pada. So April 2025 is when it's going to be moving there. And it will peak at 7% and then it will experience a retrograde. So it will peak at 7 degrees in July. So that's mid-year. And then it's going to retrograde throughout the year. So it's essentially going to stay in that nakshatra the entire year. In Uttada Pada Pada, again, it's that Cinderella nakshatra. It's about that later lucky feat. It's about receiving your luck after the hard work. This is also connected to exit moksha. So this is a really good time, I think, for those who have done their spiritual works and they've learned their lessons. This will be a time where they will be honored and they will let go and move on into their next experience here with that moksha. Some people, this is a really good time to be experiencing, again, that harnessing that Kundalini awakening and that Shakti, because it's connected to the serpent of the depth and the deep. So Uttada Pada Pada is connected to dark matter and the unconscious. So that's why there's so much unconscious desires and fears and things that are coming out to the surface too. But in the unconscious, this is where that intense energy is. This is where that light worker insight, knowledge, wisdom, divine knowledge is hidden as well. It's in our unconscious. And that's where our true awareness and our pure awareness is. So there's going to be that continuous theme playing out, and Uttara Bhadavata harmonizes through destruction, but it helps us to align with the universal mind. So we're going to be thinking along with the universal mind, the collective consciousness, the God consciousness. Jupiter is going to be entering into Gemini May 14th. It will retrograde. So it'll move into Gemini May 14th, and then it'll move into Cancer October 18th, later in the year, and then it'll retrograde in December. So it will not go any further than Cancer, which is great because it's easy to follow. It's just going to be in 3 signs for your 2025. So Jupiter in Gemini, which was previously in Taurus, so you might have experienced some blessings or some interesting experiences around finances during this time. But there's going to be an expansion in communications, ideas, travel, movement. So I feel like this is going to be, like May 14th is going to be a really great time to travel, to see people, to visit people, to connect with others as well. Because there's going to be more movement happening, more connections happening. Jupiter in Cancer is exalted. So we're going to be feeling very strong, intense connection to our heart. We're going to be feeling a lot more optimistic and happy and generous, but also you can check your other conjunctions, Mars and Mercury, and see how that plays into it as well. But that's going to be the general theme of Jupiter. There's also going to be this strong feeling of a renewal of hope, resources, nourishment, and an increase in auspicious experiences as well. So you're going to see some things really lifting up positively during this period. But again, May is like the 5th month of the year, and that's where I think that's where we're going to be witnessing more of the miracles during that period of time. But I think there's a sign is maybe Purnavasu. I think Purnavasu that is in Gemini and Cancer, and Purnavasu is about the hope after the storm. So Jupiter in Gemini, there's different nakshatras in Gemini. We have Ardra being one of them. We have Mrigashira. So maybe with Jupiter in Mrigashira, that's the beginning part of Gemini. You might actually be experiencing that in the early part of the year too. You'll be experiencing blessings because Mrigashira is connected to fulfillment. So you might actually be experiencing fulfillment prior to that. When it moves into Ardra, there might be some mental confusion and stormy emotions that you have to reprocess. When it enters into Purnavasu, you'll be feeling that hope again and that optimism and that excitement. Okay, so the planetary alignments that are going to be showing up in 2025. So the outer planets, this is why I think Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus is so powerfully activating light workers during this time. And people who have that light worker code in them that wants to be activated is because they're forming a triangle. So they've been forming a triangle 2024 to 2028 is when Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus have been working in a more synchronistic energy and a synchronistic dance, so that all of the collective visions of those bigger outer planets of revolution, transformation, and evolution are working together. So strong harmony and harmonious experiences. Things are syncing up. Even if we're having to release and do some hard work and all this stuff, it's all for the greater good, and it's all creating a benefic and auspicious, positive, radiant experience for us. So these are some dates to note. I didn't put this on the transits. Oh, maybe I did. I might have mentioned it. No, I didn't. Did I? I might have not. But these are some dates to note for the eclipses. So early in the year, we'll have a lunar eclipse. So this is going to be March 13th to 14th. We'll have a partial solar eclipse around March 29th. 29th is going to be the 6th planetary date. So keep an eye on that date. We have the lunar eclipse happening, another one towards the end of the year, is September 7th through 8th. And then we'll have a partial solar eclipse right before the equinox that happens on September 22nd. So that'll be on the 21st. So as we know, eclipses are great for igniting new energies and setting the pace. So March, I think, is going to be significant for like, bam, igniting new energy and bringing in a new pace or shifts into our lives right around that time. So on the 29th of March, there's going to be a 6th planetary conjunction in Pisces. So this is going to be Saturn 0 degrees. Rahu, 2 degrees. Not a planet, and it's not the 6th planet. So there's actually 7 I listed here, but it's going to be there. Oh, I thought it was with Neptune. See, I thought Neptune was the 2 degrees. So it was Rahu. Venus is going to be at 4 degrees. Neptune's going to be at 5 degrees. Mercury will be at 6 degrees. So Neptune and Mercury are going to be right next to each other. Oh my gosh. We have Sun at 14 degrees and Moon at 16 degrees. So I think just looking at that, we're going to be feeling some really intense emotions because Pisces is a bit unpredictable. It's going to be in the early part of Pisces. All right, so there's a little bit of Purva Bhadrapada and Uttada Bhadrapada that are playing a part in that. And both of those are about the funeral cot and moksha. So that might be a really interesting date for you to mark. What I related it to is that it's going to be a date for maybe a powerful unleashing or a universal syncing or upload completion. So I was kind of hearing upload complete. That's what I was hearing. So whatever you've been uploading through your cocooning phase, I feel like it's going to come to full completion around this date. Very exciting. So some of the conjunctions to note, Saturn will be with Rahu. So Saturn and Rahu conjunction can actually create extreme success. Big blessings, like crazy. Saturn, Neptune can create inner vision, where your inner vision becomes reality. So that's why I feel like maybe even the early part of the year, before the May time, when maybe more of the benefic energies are showing up and Rahu and Ketu switch into different signs, there'll still be an energy of things manifesting, because Saturn Neptune is where your inner vision becomes a reality. And I like to also connect it to the phrase of practical dreaming. So whatever you dream, you can make a practical reality. Rahu and Neptune is about the musicians, the mystics, and the artists. That's why I feel like a lot of you have been called who have these creative abilities because of Neptune. Neptune always activates those who, and the reason why a lot of you are creative is because those are past life gifts that you just know how to tap into. So this is the call of the musicians and the artists and the mystics. And I'm betting many of you are all of those. You do all of those things. You're interested in all of those things. So another significant conjunction that's happening during this period is in July. Jupiter is going to conjunct Venus. So in Vedic astrology, this is called Gaj Lakshmi Raj Yog. Gaj Lakshmi Raj Yog. So this is where one would experience a boost in finances or partnerships. That's going to be very intense for so many of us, is experiencing that boost. So you might be feeling particularly strong, powerful, loving energies during that period. Okay, it's time to move forward into reading your charts. So I'm excited for this. Let me go ahead and pull out my additional notes. All right, let's start out with lucky number 1, Aries. This is your reading for 2025. So for you, Aries, it looks like Uranus will be toggling back and forth between your first house and your second house. So I would say you've been feeling particularly rebellious in your self-expression. Maybe you're changing a lot of your hair and what you wear and how you express yourself. I think you guys have been maybe having a lot of fun on the internet this past year, or maybe even for some time. Maybe you've been doing lots of creative things on the internet that you've been enjoying. And I want to encourage you to continue to do that, because you are being asked to be a rebel and to express yourself differently. With Uranus entering into your second house of finances and how you make money, or this could also be just in general resources, maybe your approach to your resources should be somewhat different and unique. So I'm encouraging you to try out different things or methods to making money. I think you've already been feeling this energy and you've been working with it with Uranus transiting your first house. So this would be a good time for you to take a different approach to how you'd like to make money. How would you like to make money? Like, what is truly calling to you? This calls for you to be a revolutionary, right? It calls for you to be more free in your expression. So they're definitely encouraging you to do that. There may be some interesting or unusual experiences that are happening with your family as well. I'm also being connected to health, so just make sure whatever you're eating, you're making sure to take care of yourself. You might be trying different or unique foods, contrary to what you're used to. Just make sure you are double checking everything and making sure it's healthy and something you want to put in your mouth as well. So yeah, maybe some unusual experiences happening in general in life, particularly when Uranus, maybe you've been going through some unusual experiences, period, but I would say embrace it. You know, this is your time and your period to be very unique and different, and you've already been going through that since Uranus entered into your sign in 2016. So with Jupiter toggling back and forth between your 3rd house and your 4th house, and Rahu being in your 11th house of networking, this is going to be a really good time for you to network and connect with people. Again, being on the internet, I think you're going to rule the internet, or you've been ruling the internet for some time, but you know, with Jupiter entering into Gemini, particularly around, I think it's May or March, around that time, May or March, go ahead and make sure you're putting out content. You're on social media, you're talking about things. You're going to be feeling particularly inspired, right, to share your insight and your wisdom with other people. And most certainly people need to see this. With K2 being in your 5th house in Leo, but this is going to be happening in May, so you might not be feeling it just yet. And with Saturn and Neptune being in Pisces in your 12th house, you might be feeling somewhat introverted. Just make sure you take care of your health. Usually powerful energies in the 12th house, it pulls you more into a cocooning energy. So you have the energy to be out and engaging with people, and you will be called out to engage and connect with people. But there's going to be some balance you're going to need to strike, because you're also being called to take the responsibility of tuning to your spiritual essence. So whatever those rituals are for you, relaxation, meditation, 12th house is a passive house. It's a house of doing things behind the scenes. Make sure you're giving energy to that too. K2 being in your 5th house, you're going to be feeling less of a desire around May to be more focused on your own personal desires, and you're going to be more focused on wanting to give it back, which you might be feeling like, oh, this isn't quite like, usually I just want to do what I want to do, but that might be a really good time for you to start asking your audience or your followers or your subscribers or your clients what they could use from you that would help them. And I think they're going to give you some great feedback during that period as well. There's a little bit of delusion, with Rahu, sometimes it could be unpredictability. So just watch out, as far as what you're posting on the internet or putting out there, just make sure that you're sincere and you think about it and you're not too impulsive. You can be a little impulsive there, Aries. With Pluto being in your 10th house of career, perhaps you've been going through some powerful transformations when it comes to your career life, but I think with Uranus being in your 4th house and your 2nd house, you've been willing to go with it. You've been willing to try things out that are different, and I feel like it's been paying off for you. So just continue to do that work, and just know that you will continue to experience very intense transformative work, but it's all going to pay off to help you give strong insight and wisdom. You might also be feeling your psychic abilities heightening during this period as well. I think your psychic abilities have been heightening for a while, because Neptune entered into Pisces 2022. So whatever heightening you're experiencing around your psychic abilities, embrace that and then bring that energy out, or those insights, those revelations you receive, share that with your collective. That's exactly what they need to receive from you. Keep trusting your intuition. I think you've been trusting it, but continue to trust it, because it's definitely guiding you to create strong and powerful success with Saturn being in Pisces. It's helping you to create powerful success in your work experience. Final note, Aries, just make sure you are putting in the work. I am sure that you guys have been burning off some intense karma. Saturn, even in the 12th house, can be very intense. I think karmically, energetically, just make sure you are sincere in what you do, and you allow yourself to release whatever needs to be released, and just know that this is going to pay off towards building your confidence moving on into the future. You're going to be going through some really powerful and intense transformations, I would say, for quite some time when it comes to your career experiences, and just know that this reinventive energy is going to be a part of your mode, and it's going to be part of what people appreciate the most about you, is your ability to constantly reinvent yourself and try new things and try innovative new things. So embrace the technology, whatever whatever you feel like is exciting when it comes to new and innovative ideas, try it all out. Try out what you're being called to. I hope you guys have a wonderful 2025, Aries. Hey Taurus, welcome to your reading. So this is what your 2025 is going to be looking like. So Jupiter is going to be toggling back and forth between your second house and your third house. So this would be a good opportunity to network and connect with other people, because it's gonna, whoever your network is, especially with Rahu being an Aquarius in your 10th house, these people are going to give you opportunities to make money. So I feel like this is going to be a really positive year for an uptake in your finances, because with Jupiter being blessing your second house, and then Rahu being in your 10th house of career, it's, I think, through your network, you're going to be given some like prominent opportunities to make money. So this would be a really good opportunity for you to sign those contracts. Just make sure you're careful, you know, with Rahu, that can create a little bit of a delusional or impulsive energy. Just make sure you're reading between the lines and you're reading the fine print to make sure it is a contract that is true to you and what you're deserving of. And I think you know that, Taurus, that you are deserving of things. Just make sure you read that fine print. With Jupiter transiting into Cancer for you, so you're going to be feeling some blessings maybe around friendships, connections, perhaps traveling. You might have some opportunities to travel, go to different places. Perhaps you'll be feeling really connected to your siblings. Maybe you're going to want to connect with your siblings. But again, you know, there's this theme of communication with that Jupiter in Gemini and being in the second house of your voice, and Jupiter in the third house. So this is going to be a period where you're called to use your voice to really communicate your ideas and your concepts. And people are going to be feeling, I think, connected with you and resonating with your ideas and concepts. So definitely use your voice, speak up, talk about what you really want to do, what inspires you. This will keep people inspired and engaged to listen to you. So K2 is going to be transiting your 4th house of home. So maybe there's going to be some unpredictability around home life. Maybe you're going to spend less time around your home life. You won't be as interested in being at home as much. You actually might prefer to be out of the house traveling, doing different things. I'm seeing someone doing seminars. So maybe you're going to be doing seminars during this period as opposed to being at home. And maybe you'd be more out and about than usual, but you're a hardworking sign. So I feel like that won't be very unusual for you. With Rahu in being in your 10th house and you being a Taurus, I feel like this is definitely going to feel like an optimistic boost when it comes to your ambitions and what you're excited to create for yourself. But less of the focus is going to be on, you know, you wanting to spend time by yourself and just do whatever you want to do, and more focus is going to be about what do you really feel like you're called to do or build or create or share with other people. Your reputation is going to be experiencing some sort of boost, some sort of like network connection. Maybe you'll be meeting someone prominent who connects you with recognition in your reputation or growth in your reputation. So this could be someone who already has a reputation that you'll be connecting with, especially with Saturn and Neptune being in Pisces. This could be someone who's very artistic and very hardworking that you'll be meeting. So Saturn and Neptune will be in Pisces in your 11th house of networking and desires and aspirations. So you might be meeting someone who's very good at being successful, very passionate about what they do, but also creative and open to flow, who's going to help to introduce you to an opportunity or a contract of some sort that's going to give you a huge financial boost this year. So with Pluto Pluto continuing on into your 9th house, so you're continuing to go through transformations when it comes to your philosophies and your ideas. So maybe you're doing a lot of reading or research about what you think is important. I feel like for you, this would be a really good time for you to really listen to that deep inner insight and wisdom within yourself. You're going to get some great help from other people who are more, I think, experienced than you, who are going to give you some great advice. But this is a really good period for you to understand that you're also a really great teacher too, and you can tune more into that inner teacher in you, because Pluto can be very internal, right? So it's like, this is the time for you to recognize that you are wise, you are insightful. What kind of advice would you give to yourself to make big moves? And with the Saturn and Neptune being in Pisces, your network circle is going to encourage you to do this. They're going to tell you, hey, do what you really want to do. What do you feel like is connected to your heart? You know, what are you feeling? They're going to ask you, what are you feeling? What do you think is the right thing for you to do? What feels aligned? Yes. So with Neptune being in your 11th house of social networking or desires, you might have had some interesting experiences since 2022. Maybe you've been meeting a lot of interesting people during this period of time. So this is just going to be another year where you get to do that. But with Saturn entering into Pisces as well, it's going to bring more of obligations and seriousness to it. So I feel like that's why it's going to bring contracts, because you're going to feel more obligated to work with the people that you're meeting. And these people will be more intense and serious too. So you'll get access to the network, but you're going to have to stay on top of your emails, stay on top of connecting with people, your clients, so that, you know, the energy flows and everything works out and you end up getting the outcome that you want. So make sure you stay focused on that. Keep building your dreams. This is definitely a dream building year. And I feel like towards the later part of the year, especially in July, when Jupiter is transiting Cancer, there's going to be like a big surprise or blessing that shows up for you during that period as a result of you putting in that diligent hard work. So Uranus will be toggling back and forth between your 12th house and 1st house. So this might be a little off-putting for you. I feel like you guys maybe like to be more consistent or particular about how you like to dress or how you like to express yourself. But this year, you're going to be feeling a little bit more risky and risque on how you want to dress, on how you want to express yourself, on some of the ideas, certain things that you typically would not share with people. This is going to be a year for you to come out and share that and be more passionate about your insight. With Uranus transiting your 12th house, perhaps you've been getting some really powerful insights in how you can build your business or create something successful or create more of a life that you want for yourself. Because, you know, Uranus transiting Kritika, this is about the pioneer, the purification through fire. So you've been learning what it is you really want to do or who it is you really want to be. What's making you the leader you truly want to be in this world. So you've been getting a lot of insights and ingenious ideas. With Uranus entering into Taurus, this will be the opportunity and time for you to act on that and to make it a reality for yourself. All right, that's going to be your 2025. And that is your 2025 Taurus. I hope you guys enjoyed that reading. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Hey Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is going to be your reading for 2025. So you'll have Jupiter toggling back and forth between your 1st house and 2nd house. So Gemini, this is a very exciting year for you. I think you're going to have a lot of blessings given to you. You're going to feel so much more optimistic. That optimism is going to be contagious. You might go viral, your subscriber count might grow, your followers might grow, but there's going to be like a halo or a light around you, some sort of radiance. People are going to be like, what are you doing? I need some of that. But people are going to be feeling excited about talking to you, engaging with you, and just giving you opportunities out of the blue. You'll probably get some like random gifts, opportunities to travel, do some things, try some things out this year. You'll also be feeling somewhat very talkative. So enjoy that. Enjoy the conversation and the talk that you get to experience with people and those conversations. And you being the Gemini, I'm sure, you know, if you're sometimes more of a shy, introverted Gemini, you're going to be feeling more of an extroverted Gemini this year. With Jupiter transiting your 2nd house of finances and moving into Cancer, there's going to be a huge boost in finances, like maybe just like a huge windfall that shows up for you during this year, where it's just going to be like a lump sum of money and you get to buy something. You might actually purchase something that you've always wanted to purchase, something big that you've always wanted to purchase this year. And you're being encouraged to do that. There's definitely a blessing coming around that. There may be also a blessing showing up around family. So whether it's like kids or children or your immediate family, maybe you'll be traveling to see your family, but there's some sort of blessing that may also be showing up around family or connecting with like children or kids. Because, you know, Jupiter moving into Cancer can be very mothering, very nurturing. So you might be feeling particularly called to maybe connect with your immediate family, maybe your parents. For example, you might be receiving some sort of blessing through your parents. They might just give you something out of the blue, like a car or something. Who knows? So your resources are going to be showing up quite nicely for you this year, Gemini. With K2 being in your third house in Leo, so you being the Gemini and K2 being in your third house of communication, I think you're still going to feel quite optimistic, but your conversation is going to be more philosophical. So we got Rahu here sitting in Aquarius in the ninth house. So your conversation is going to feel a lot more philosophical. So as opposed to maybe just like saying random things, because Gemini can be quite random about its information, you're going to be more intentional about talking about things that are bigger, like aspirations, very philosophical, very open-minded, very spiritual in some sense, like some knowledge, some wisdom. So those are some of the conversations you'll be having. There might be a teacher that shows up during this time, or a mentor that shows up for you during this time, who can help give you some insight and wisdom into how you can do things or pursue your passions or what's of importance to you. But I feel like this year you'll be collecting some like really great things to journal, some insight that you'll be taking with you for a long time. With Pluto being in your 8th house of transformation, Pluto's in its own house, so I feel like the transformation you're going through, you're working with it. You're a mutable sign, so you like to be flexible, you like to experience change, and you're going to be all for it with Jupiter transiting your first house. You'll be all for that flexibility and the changes and the adventure that you get to experience in your life. Yet at the same time, this is a period for you to be really reflective about some of your long-term goals and things that you're wanting to pursue. So maybe perhaps you're not as serious about your long-term goals, but you're being called since 2020 to really think about, what do I really want to do? Like what kind of, do I want a family? What do I really want to bring into this world? What's important to me? That's what you'll be reflecting on and thinking about. But in general, you are going through a powerful transformation within yourself. And I feel like because Pluto's in its own house, out of all of the signs, you're more willing to go with it. The intensity of it. So maybe some days you're feeling a little bit more like intense and like willing to integrate and work with your shadow side. And then other days you're like, oh, I'm just feeling like so light and positive and optimistic. And I want to share this insight with other people. There may be also opportunities for random wealth to show up in your life as well. There might be an opportunity, especially when Jupiter looks across or opposes Pluto, there might be some sort of random inheritance that shows up for you. I definitely see some sort of random windfall showing up for you during this year. With the North Node being in Aquarius, there also may be an opportunity for you to do some traveling. Like you can travel to a different country, if you've never gone to Paris, once you get that windfall, you might be like, you know what, I want a trip to Paris. I want to go somewhere or to a country I've never been before. That'll be perhaps a good opportunity for you to try something like that. And Saturn and Neptune, Saturn being in Pisces, this is the opportunity for you to make your dreams reality. So there's going to be an opportunity for you to experience a dream destination, maybe even just randomly meet a celebrity you've always wanted to meet. So, or you might just literally, it might just be so random. Someone you've always had admiration for might just show up in your reality and you'll be like, oh my gosh, that's very weird. So with Saturn and Neptune being in Pisces in your 10th house, I'm getting mixed energy for this when it comes to career opportunities, because Saturn always brings responsibility. And Neptune, though it can be very creative, which I think your creative energy is going to be through the roof this year, at the same time, Neptune can be uninhibited or ungrounding, where you're just like, I don't know, but Saturn brings more of that grounding energy. So I feel like there might be a mixture energy of you thinking, I don't really, because with Pluto being in Capricorn in your 8th house, there's a little bit of unpredictability in terms of your reputation, what can happen in terms of career experiences, and you being given access to a bigger scale projects or opportunities. I see some things showing up for you, but I think it'll be a mixture because Saturn brings responsibility. So if you want to take on that responsibility, because I'm seeing your energy being more floaty, more free, if you want to ground yourself into this project or this idea, just make sure you focus. You just make sure you focus and you're very intentional I think you're going to have some sort of journal or something where you can track your progress. That way you don't lose sight of this goal. But I'm getting that randomness is going to be great for you. Being random, being just open to anything is going to land you into dream opportunities where you get to do things where you're having so much fun this year. And money's just going to show up for you. It will. So Jupiter is going to be toggling back and forth between your 11th house and your 12th house. So there's going to be a mixture of wanting to be out with other people versus wanting to be by yourself, right? So you might be called to connect with people, but also just be by yourself as well during this year. Yeah, I feel like there's going to be more of a serious energy around who you're typically hanging out with. You know, usually if you hang out with like lots of random different people, I feel like you're going to be more intentional about who you want to hang out with. Because with Saturn being there, I feel like there's going to be like specific people that you choose to hang out with during this period. And perhaps it's going to be people who are a little, I'm getting somewhat opposite of you. They're more serious. They're more intense, maybe less flighty, more grounded when it comes to their desires, more just like intense, more serious about it. And I think you're really going to enjoy their company. So that's why I see someone, or like a mentor or a teacher, or someone showing up for you where they give you really good advice on how you can do something. So there's an opportunity there showing up for you. And then with Uranus, you know, this is when we want to express ourselves in a very rebellious and unique, innovative way. But with Uranus transiting through Kritika, that's also a purification process. So perhaps you're approaching your leadership style in a way that is more serious, right? You're thinking about, well, how do I really want to connect with people? I don't want to just say anything random. I want to really give them some advice that they can use or help them in a way that really benefits them as well. So with Uranus transiting your 12th house, that can bring some unpredictability in expenditures. So just make sure you're careful. I think there's going to be a really great opportunity for you to travel or go somewhere fun. But I'm also seeing with Uranus transiting to Taurus, some of the experiences might be a little pricey, more pricey than you're expecting. But if you're making sure to track your expenses, I think you'll be fine this year. So that's what your 2025 is looking like. Gemini, I hope you guys have a wonderful year. Hey Cancer, welcome to your transit reading. So starting out, looks like K2 is going to be transiting your 2nd house, and the North Node will be transiting your 8th house. We also have Jupiter toggling back and forth between your 12th and 1st house. So I'm getting peekaboo. You're going to be playing peekaboo this year. So you will benefit more from spending time alone versus spending time with everybody. You're going to want to spend more time alone. This year, I know we've been going through the cocooning phase and transformations, but you're still going through some intense transformations with Pluto being in your 7th house of relationships, looking at your 1st house. So you're still going through some intense transformations that are very apparent there that need your attention. I want to say that. They need your attention. And this is going to be a period, you know, 8th house is it can be very introverted, just like sometimes the 4th house and definitely the 12th house. So this is going to be a really good year for you to experiment when it comes to your deeper, darker depths. Maybe you're experimenting more with your shadow side. And I feel like I feel as though you will feel a lot more attuned to your darker, shadowy aspect side of yourself. You're going to be more willing to go there. Whereas sometimes you're not. You know, Cancer can be very light, and sometimes you guys are avoidant of those like deeper, intense experiences. But this is going to be a year where you're like, you know what, let's go there. Let's do it. You know, especially with Pluto being in your 7th house. Maybe you've been feeling a little bit of that risque energy, but the 8th house is the house of your subconscious. So whatever your subconscious desires are, those are going to be much more apparent. They're going to be coming to light. And I'm hearing you take accountability and more responsibility for your behavior, things that you've done in the past, and wanting to approach it in a more mature manner moving forward. So K2 being in your 2nd house, this is a house of your immediate family, could be the house of your resources as well. I think this is something you're going to have to let go of and be open to. Perhaps your resources are going to stagnate somewhat. just somewhat. I'm hearing like stabilize. So it's like if your finances are fine right now, it'll be fine. If your finances are not so great, either way, I think it's going to stabilize. Even Rahu being in the 8th house can be like a random inheritance. So you might just get random lump sums of money where you're taken care of, but it doesn't come in the way that you're used to consistently. And you like comfort. You like things moving at a steady pace, but you might just have to be open this year to more unpredictability in how things happen and manifest for you. You're gonna have to let go of that comfort, be open to the unpredictable this year. With Saturn and so Pluto is going to be in your 7th house. There might be some powerful transformations and changes happening in your 7th house. So this energy may have felt particularly karmic for you this past few years since Pluto entered into Capricorn in 2020. You might have been feeling like relationships have been challenging. If you've been in a long-term partnership, all of that karmic energy and those subconscious fears are showing up. And what I'm going to tell you, don't let your subconscious fears rule your life. Make sure you are deciding how you want to live your life, because that's all it's calling for you to do, is to take accountability for what you truly want and what is in your heart. So continue to push through when it comes to that. As far as relationships go, I think I'm just seeing stability here. There may be an opportunity, when Jupiter transits into your 1st house. If you're not with anyone, there may be opportunities for you to date and have fun. Uranus is going to be transiting your 2nd house in Taurus. So I think that's kind of when you'll be meeting people, having fun and whatnot. But otherwise, I think for the first part of the year, it'll be a good time for you to just work with yourself and see what's important to you. And especially when the nodes transit in May, you're really going to be feeling that. And I think randomly, maybe people might be showing up for you. Maybe in the early part of the year when Uranus enters into Taurus for a little bit, you might be feeling called to really interact and have fun with people. But definitely know, with Jupiter transiting into Gemini in your 12th house, you're going to prefer to be alone. You're going to prefer to be more intense, delving into your inner depths and like gaining more insight and wisdom on the person you want to be, who you are. And there's going to be some magnetism to people being drawn to you, especially when Jupiter transits into Cancer towards the later part of the year. People are just going to be randomly, October, that time of the year, that's a really good time, I think, for you to meet people and for you to connect with people. So with Saturn being in, Neptune being in Pisces in your 9th house, perhaps you are rethinking your religious or philosophical beliefs or ideas. This is a good opportunity to focus more on your spirituality. This is a really good opportunity for you to focus on maybe long distance travel, for you to work with a guru, a mentor, or a teacher who can help you work on yourself. I feel like this is going to be the year of you working on yourself and what's important to you, what you want to do, versus like who you want to be. So you're going to be doing some deep inner work, transformative work that's going to pay off later for you. This is going to be a really good year. Perhaps if there's a teacher or a guru, if you've had mentors who you have been neglecting, you haven't been listening to them, this year you're going to have to listen to them. Okay, there's some seriousness, there's some responsibility that you are needing to take. But with Neptune being in Pisces there, these people they're not going to put intense, like super intense pressure on you. They're also going to be very open-minded to collaborating with you and talking with you, making sure that you feel okay too. So your superiors, or it could be a mentor, a guru, or a teacher showing up in your life that can help to guide you. You might even meet them online randomly, and they can help to guide you and give you some powerful insight. This, I think, is also actually very positive and optimistic for you meeting. It could be like a serious partner or a serious teacher, a mentor, or a friend. So I see that. I see people, powerful partnerships or people showing up in your life, but I don't see a bunch of random people coming in and out of your life this year. So with Uranus toggling back and forth between your 10th house of career, profession, status, reputation, and your 11th house of social network, I think you've been going through a huge reinvention phase when it comes to your leadership. Perhaps you've been given some really powerful leadership opportunities this past year. Perhaps you've been reassessing how it is you want to be a leader, the leader you want to be. in this world, and you've been going through that purification process. You've been maybe dressing differently, just expressing yourself differently at work, in your profession. With Uranus toggling back and forth between with Uranus transiting into your second house. This is where, because it's going to be in the house, it's actually in Aquarius, right? Or an Aquarius ruled house, and it's connected to Aquarius. So I feel like there's going to be some really unique ideas and concepts that come through, some unusual ideas that you're not typically used to when it comes to finances, maybe making money. I'm hearing investing, so maybe like investing, even 8th house can be like stock market. There might be some like investments that you're wanting to make into things, some long-term goals. Like I'm hearing timeshare. I don't even know what that is. Like there's some kind of like investment opportunities. I feel like that's going to be showing up for you, that in the long run, if you invest into it, they will pay off. And so, yeah, I think there'll be some random opportunities showing up there. There may be some random opportunities, networking, where you're going to meet people who are very diligent, very hardworking, who are great leaders. You actually might have been exposed to quite a bit of leaders this past few years, but I think you're going to be meeting leaders. You're going to be meeting some leaders, people who are very intentional about the life that they've created for themselves, and you're going to be getting some really good tips from them, but they might have an unusual or very unique approach to how they do their leadership, and that might be helping you to consider, oh, you know what, maybe I'm going to try some things different. I'm not going to be so serious and so focused on doing it this way. What if I can be this kind of leader? So maybe you're reinventing the leader that you really want to be. So with Jupiter in your 12th house, I already talked about, spirituality is going to be a huge important theme for you, because we have even Saturn and Neptune in a house ruled by Jupiter as well. So you're really going to feel called to your spiritual calling, your spiritual essence. Maybe you'll be volunteering for the church more, or some kind of organization or spiritual organization that you feel really connected to during this year. And I feel like you're just going to be devoting or giving time or energy, committing to it just for the sake of it, making you feel good and fill you up with positive, good energy. That's your reading for 2025, Cancer. I hope you guys have a great 2025. Hey Leo, so this is going to be your reading for 2025. So it looks like K2 is going to be transiting your first house, and Rahu will be transiting your 7th house. So there'll be less of a focus and emphasis on you. And you're going to be feeling more shy, more introverted, even with Jupiter transiting between your 11th house and your 12th house. You'll have this strong desire to want to give back and do things for other people, but less focused on yourself. So perhaps there'll be partnerships that also show up for you during this time, with Rahu being in the North Node being in your 7th house. If you're currently in a partnership, there may be a huge emphasis around your partner experiencing growth in their reputation. So you might be watching them grow in their abilities and what they're capable of doing and giving back to people. You might be also meeting significant people or partnerships. Jupiter will be also transiting your 11th house of networking. So you might be meeting people, connecting with people who you really resonate with and connect with, and learning a lot from them. With Pluto being in your 6th house in Capricorn, you've been going through some intense transformations. This could be connected to finances, difficulties, and certain challenges that have been showing up in your life. But I feel like some of these challenges will be alleviated through your network connections or partnerships. That's where you'll be receiving your blessings, is through partnerships. So connect to those people or those partnerships that can help you. There might be some assistance out of the blue that shows up, where people can help you out of whatever difficulties or challenges that you've been going through this past year. But you're going to have to continue to put in that deep effort to work on yourself, to build yourself up, maybe to build your finances up as well. Yeah, there may be also some unpredictability showing up in your work environment, but that's because you're going through transformations when it comes to that. But I'm seeing if you sit back and you're willing to listen and receive the feedback from other people, this is what can help you so much. So Jupiter is going to be transiting, I'm skipping over. With Saturn and Neptune being in Pisces in your 8th house, this brings a lot of unpredictability energy, because it's a water energies and water house, but Saturn helps to bring stability here. So there's going to be some stability that's brought to maybe some of the unpredictability that you've been experiencing and the challenges that you've been facing in the 6th house. Saturn will help with that. And with the Saturn-Neptune Pisces conjunction, this is also going to help to bring blessings and safety. So 8th house also represents inheritance. So you might be receiving some sort of inheritance or windfall that helps to stabilize your finances or whatever difficult challenges that have been showing up for you. You might have some loans that you've been needing to pay off where you're going to be getting some assistance and help around that. But you have to make sure to give that energy to being sincere. 8th house is about our subconscious. So this is a really good time for you to be sincere in how you're wanting to reprogram your subconscious mind to do better and to approach things differently that perhaps wasn't approached in a way that was authentic to you. And you, Leo, you being Leo, you are authentic. So authenticity is going to be important. This is a time for you to be really true to what matters to you during this period of time. You might also feel like your psychic abilities are heightening during this period, especially with Jupiter transiting your 12th house as well in Cancer. So you might feel like your psychic abilities are heightening. You might be getting some really intense intuitive insights and hits about how to bring stability. Saturn's influence will show you how you can bring more stability into your life. What's going to work for you long term? What kind of legacy you want to create? What truly will help you to create success in this world? You'll be getting some intuitive insight. So your intuition is what you really want to rely on, or your psychic intuitive abilities is what you want to rely on to give you the assistance. So you're going to be your best teacher this year, and following those intuitive insights will lead you to the network of people or connections who can help you out, or the partnership. So make sure you trust your heart. Listen to your heart. With Uranus toggling back and forth between your 9th house and your 10th house, so you might be meeting some unusual gurus or teachers. You might have some random opportunities. Jupiter will also be transiting your 11th house. That's also a house of traveling too. So you might be having some opportunities to do some traveling during this period, some random trips, somewhere fun, unique, different that you're not expecting. But there also is a bit of seriousness. Uranus is transiting through Kritika. Kritika is a purification fire, leadership energy. So you might be meeting some really intense leaders, unusual leaders during this period of time who can give you some really good insight in how you can build yourself as a person. So I feel like this is going to be it would be a really good year for you to travel, go on retreats, meet teachers, meet people who have that deep internal insight. Maybe you want to experiment with Reiki healing, different modalities of healing that can help you feel so much more attuned to yourself. So your spiritual essence is going to be elevating this year. With Uranus transiting into your 10th house in Taurus, this is also going to help you to, I think, be more open with, you're Leo, so you like to stand out. You guys are the peacock, the lion. You guys do like to stand out, and you like to be recognized for your creative abilities. But this is going to be more of the year where you're recognized for who you are versus what you can do very well, or what talents you have that want to show up for you. More of your subtle talents are going to show up. Your psychic talents are going to be showing up this year. And with Uranus being in Taurus, you might be feeling called to promote yourself in a very unique, innovative way. You might be called to a opportunity to network with people who you typically wouldn't network just out of the blue, and to present somewhere, go somewhere, talk about something, your business, to a group of people who you don't usually talk about. So I feel like there'll be like random opportunities for you to network. 7th house can also be about a contract as well, and Jupiter and Gemini could be about a contract as well. So there might be some sort of random blessing of an opportunity or contract that's going to show up for you to grow in your finances. With Jupiter toggling back and forth between your 11th house and your 12th house, this is going to be giving you an opportunity for you to meet a wonderful network of people who you're going to connect with, who are going to inspire you, who are going to help you to grow, who are going to give you some really good ideas on how you connect, maybe even people who can help to build your reputation some way and be like, hey, this is my, I know this person. Do you want to connect with this person? And maybe, network with them and you can promote your business there. But with Jupiter, again, transiting into the 12th house, like it's also auspicious for you traveling into foreign countries. Traveling to foreign countries, but I think you're going to be going through a really strong internal spiritual transformation this year where you're going to feel so much more connected to your being and your body and who you are. But this is going to require you to spend that time alone. And I know sometimes you like to be with people, and there's definitely going to be opportunities for that, but most definitely make sure you spend that time alone to tune into to just feel comfortable, to feel relaxed. That downtime is going to be important. So that's your reading for 2025, Leo. I hope it's a great one for you. Bye. Oh. Hey Virgo, so this is your reading for 2025. So the first thing we have here is Pluto's continuing to transit through your 5th house. So perhaps when it comes to your talents and your creative abilities, a lot of this is being realized through your subconscious desires and fears. You're realizing maybe there's so much more depth to you than you thought. You are learning how to express yourself in a much more authentic way that feels true to you. Perhaps you're feeling aligned with your life purpose and you're understanding, wow, this is how I can creatively express myself and I can see myself doing this for the rest of my life. It's great for that. So a lot of creative inspiration showing up for you through your own personal transformation that you are going through, and you're learning a lot about yourself this past few years. So with the North Node being in the 6th house, I feel like this is an interesting combination because I feel like you're going to be granted protection in the 6th house, with there being a connection, Saturn being the original ruler of Aquarius, and it's going to be in Pisces. So I feel like Saturn is going to help to slow down whatever difficulties you've been experiencing in the 11th house. Sorry, the 6th house. So whatever debts, financial debt, or difficulties you've been experiencing, this is all going to stabilize during this period of time for you, and you're going to find yourself running into lucky opportunities where perhaps your financial debt is taken care of and you start to tackle it in a way that works the best for you. So your 6th house is getting the protection it needs during this period of time. And I feel like your health is going to stabilize as well. If your health has been fluctuating, make sure you're taking care of yourself. Saturn, sometimes it can bring that responsibility. So definitely make sure you're taking care of your health. There might be some unusual, like you could get sick out of the blue, but Saturn asks for you to be disciplined. So if you're disciplined and you're making sure to eat those foods, and you're making sure to sleep, there shouldn't be an intense fluctuation when it comes to your health. Right, so we have Saturn and Neptune in Pisces in your 7th house. Now, this is a really cool combination, and I think a really auspicious combination for you to meet somebody, a lifetime partner, or even a business partner during this time. There's going to be some important people that show up. Jupiter also will be transiting your 11th house of your social network. So I feel like during this period, there's going to be some important people that are going to show up in your life. This could be a life partner. This could be a business partner. This could be friends who are going to stay in your life forever. But yeah, you're getting, Neptune's looking at you as well. Your sun, your moon, or your ascendant, it's looking at you. So this is going to be an opportunity for you to very much bring the practicality to your dreams and help it to be realized. Perhaps it's a partnership or the advice of your partner, whether you're with them or you're not with them, or you're going to meet them later on. This person would give you some really great advice on how it is you can take care of your finances, or you can take care of certain situations, or you can build your reputation when it comes to opportunities, or you can pursue your dreams. So I feel like this is going to be a great opportunity for you to meet someone who could be creative, artistic, very open-minded, maybe even a mystic, but someone who can practically realize this help you to realize your dreams. And I feel like you've been, you know, maybe sometimes you can be a bit of a control freak and you have certain ways that you like to pursue things, right? You like to be organized, you like to be efficient and sufficient. But perhaps these past few years, you've been willing to try out different things, try out, you know, unusual ways of approaching things. And that's what's going to work for you. But at the same time, there's some more assistance or help that you need, particularly around a partnership that can offer you that help you need, that's going to help you to grow and experience more success. So with the Uranus toggling back and forth between Aries and Taurus, so it's been transiting your 8th house. So sometimes when things transit our 8th house, there's like unusual experiences. This could be insight, like spiritual, could be like your psychic abilities coming online, some like strong insight, revelations that are coming through to you on how you can operate better. Some releasing energy that's happening around your subconscious is happening here thanks to Uranus. But the other thing that this is creating as well is this can create random inheritance. So to me, if you're going to be receiving some sort of random wealth or inheritance that shows up for you, it's going to come from someone who is unusual or different or not your usual type. Let's just say it like that. Someone who's not your usual type. Someone who just decides to direct their blessings towards you, their help towards you. That is what I'm seeing there. But great for insight, great for tuning into psychic abilities and you feeling empowered there. So with Jupiter toggling back and forth between Gemini in your 10th house and Cancer in your 11th house, I feel like there's going to be a huge blessing when it comes to your career. Again, I'm seeing partnerships, I'm seeing a contract, I'm seeing some kind of blessing showing up for you here. With Jupiter being in Gemini, this would be an important time to use your voice to make sure you're speaking up and you're advocating for what's important to you. People might be feeling like your reputation might be that of someone who's very inspiring. People might be feeling very inspired by you during this period. And because of that, they want to give you the opportunities, bigger opportunities that you are deserving of. But these are opportunities that you got to work for. Definitely, Virgo, these are things that you passionately and diligently have to put in the work into building and creating for yourself. And you are a hardworking sign, so I know you can do it. So K2 is going to be in Leo in your 12th house. So you're going to be feeling less shy this year. You're going to want to come out, talk to people, engage with people, network with people, connect with people. You are sometimes a hermit, but this is going to be a year where you're going to feel called out. I think you're going to have a balance between socializing and spending time alone, but I think this year you're going to feel particularly inspired to connect with a lot of people because you can be growing in your social image when it comes to networking, your social media, your online presence can be growing significantly this year. So definitely take advantage of that. I think it's going to be a wonderful year for you, Virgo. Best of luck. Bye. Hey Libra, so this is your 2025 reading. So we have Pluto transiting your 4th house of safety, security, and home life. So perhaps you've been going through some karmic shifts when it comes to your home life, safety, security, when it comes to maybe your relationship with your mother or your parents. You've been going through those transformations, but all of this is subconscious fears or desires that are showing up for you to understand who you truly want to transform into and what's important to you. Pluto's also looking at your 10th house. Pluto being in Capricorn and looking at Capricorn's original house is showing that whatever transformation you're going through is going to pay off hugely in terms of building and growing your reputation. So the more that you invest time into building yourself up, the more that your reputation, your success, you're going to find your success, your wealth, all of this is going to grow as a result of you working on yourself, taking care of yourself, and not working that hard. You're not like working tirelessly to do this, because Pluto in the 4th house is a house of rest. So this is where rest is actually helping you to amass more and attract and be more magnetic to success. And Pluto can be very magnetic, right? So you are in the place to be very magnetic when it comes to success, but you have to put in the work to yourself, working on yourself and taking care of yourself and prioritizing that first. With the North Node transiting your 5th house of creativity in Aquarius, lots of creative ideas, lots of creative insights going to be showing up for you during this period, perhaps even powerful creative ideas and insight in terms of taking care of whatever the difficulties and challenges you've experienced in the 6th house. Saturn and Neptune are in the 6th house, and Saturn does well in the 6th house because it grants protection. It helps to stabilize the unpredictability of the sorrow or difficulties you're facing. So you might just randomly see that things are taken care of when it comes to whatever difficulties or challenges you've been facing. But it looks like with the North Node being in Aquarius in the 5th house, you're going to feel very inspired creatively to help, to offer something to people. So these are going to be some like really powerful, innovative, creative ideas that are going to come to you, that are going to inspire you to help people, offer something to people as well. You might be, sometimes with the 5th house, it can be the house of children. So if you're wanting children, just maybe out of the blue, you're going to have an opportunity to bring some children into this world. But I think it's majorly going to be a huge growth period when it comes to your intellect. So you're going to be sounding a lot more intelligent in terms of being articulate. You are already an articulate sign, but you're going to feel particularly articulate this year in terms of how you communicate your concepts and ideas, and they're going to be hitting, I think, and resonating with people. And you're going to communicate in a way that's very creative, maybe unusual to how you typically would. With Saturn and Neptune being in Pisces in your 6th house, so again, I was saying this grants protection towards difficulties, maybe even financial debt. Some of those things are going to be taken care of and stabilized for you during this period of time. With Uranus toggling back and forth between your 7th house and 8th house, you might find yourself meeting some people, maybe even going on some dates this year out of the blue, people just sort of showing up and you're like, oh, okay. Or having some adventures with people. You may be meeting people who are leaders. Maybe you have been meeting unusual people who have been leaders this past year since Uranus entered into Aries in 2016. Maybe you have met a lot of interesting, unique people these past few years that have been giving you some innovative insights and ideas to how you can live your life. And maybe you've been taking bits and pieces of inspiration from them and saying, you know what, I want to take this with me and let it teach me how I can be more of a powerful, empowered leader for myself. With Uranus entering into your 8th house of the occult, or it could be random inheritance, I feel like there may be some like financial random lumps of money that are going to be showing up for you this year, but it's going to be spurts of like randomness, like oh so there's going to be some random spurts of finances that are going to be showing up for you this year, some like nice random lump sums, and they're going to help take care of you. They're going to help to be exactly what you need. We have Jupiter, but there's also unpredictability there. So you really have to be open to the unpredictable for that. With Jupiter transiting Gemini in your 9th house, this is going to be a really great opportunity to meet a mentor, a teacher, to maybe even learn how to become more of the teacher that you want to be. Right? You're an air sign, so you like to communicate your thoughts and ideas. You're going to be sounding very philosophical this year and very inspiring. So this would be a good opportunity to host speaking engagements, online opportunities where you're connecting with people, particularly when it comes to expansion, spirituality, inspiration, being a motivational speaker. This is going to be a really good year for you to kick that off. Maybe there's some writing you're also wanting to do. That would be a good year for that. Jupiter entering into your 10th house, there's going to be some growth in reputation opportunities for you as well. So like July is when Jupiter and Venus are going to be conjunct in your 10th house. So I think there's going to be a beautiful big opportunity or blessing that's going to show up for you when it comes to your business opportunities or business reputation that I see later moving on into the future is going to be more prosperous for you. So there may be a powerful beginning, opportunities that are offered to you that are going to create a powerful continuous journey for you moving forward. With K2 being in the 11th house of social network, you might feel called to just create behind the scenes by yourself. Whatever your projects are, your passions are, that will be your main focus. Maybe even just working from home with Pluto being in the 4th house. You'll prefer to work at home, do projects at home versus working with other people. But with K2 being in the 11th house, yeah, maybe less of a desire to go to concerts or be around a ton of people all at once, or maybe even be online. Maybe you'll be posting things here and there, but I see you doing things in person. That's going to make a world of a difference. Or posting things like projects. I see you dedicating yourself to projects that you're going to put out into the world, but you're not going to feel this need to engage with people all the time this year. Okay, so that's going to be your reading here for 2025. I hope it is going to be a beautiful, wonderful year for you guys. Best of luck. Hey Scorpio, so this is going to be your transit reading for 2025. So we have Pluto continuing on in your 3rd house. This is your 3rd house of communication, your talents, creative abilities. You know, with Jupiter transiting your 8th house, I feel like you're really tuning into your intuitive abilities. You are a very intuitive sign. You're a psychic sign quite naturally, but this has been the year where you've been getting like really powerful insight and ideas, like random ideas and insight in how the universe works. Like I'm hearing how the universe works, how things really operate, what really matters to you. Perhaps you've been feeling quite intense and very serious in terms of how you are communicating to people, but that intense, transformative approach to your communication style is actually helping to build yourself up as well as other people. So 3rd house can also be about your thinking, like how are you processing your thoughts? And you're already a deep sign, so this has been a year where you're continuously processing things in a very deep way. Maybe you're working on some projects behind the scene, like some writing behind the scenes, some long-term projects that in a year or so you're going to be desiring to put that out, or maybe even towards the end of the year. So we have the North Node in Aquarius in your 4th house. So this is probably a time where you're wanting to spend more time at home, creating, working on your projects. Your intuitive abilities, your creative abilities, your artistic sensibilities, all of that is growing with Neptune being in Pisces in your 5th house. And Saturn being there, you're going to have an opportunity to realize something. So if you've been wanting to write an album, put it out there, maybe you've written music for the album, if you're wanting to actually create it and put it out to the audience, I would say, I don't know if this year you'd want to do it, but I would say in the near future, there's more of an opportunity for you to do that. Definitely. But with Rahu being in Aquarius in the 4th house, you're feeling called to spend more time alone, maybe even behind your computer doing things versus out networking with people. And you like your alone time, Scorpio, so that might just work to your benefit. With Saturn being in Pisces and Neptune being in Pisces, again, this is a really good time for you to work on something creatively that you've been wanting to put out, a project, and something that's going to be very successful. I'm seeing that for you. It's going to be very successful and prosperous for you. Like, I just keep being drawn to music, so if you've been wanting to put out a song, it could go like viral or could be a hit or something like that. Like, I'm seeing an opportunity for you to do that. But otherwise, intellectually, I'm also seeing you making wise decisions when it comes to business, and this is coming from, again, your psychic intuitive abilities. With Jupiter transiting your 8th house, you're just getting this like strong insight and impulses for where to invest your money, perhaps, where to invest your time creatively. And this is what's working to your benefit. So definitely pay attention to that. You might be called to spend more time at home with family, with your kids if you have kids. This is going to be a time where you're called to give more attention to your children. You know, Saturn being in the 5th house of children, responsibility, to children is where you're being called, but there's a playful energy here. So I think you're going to enjoy the responsibility, even though some days you might be tired. But with Neptune being there, you're going to have fun too. And I feel like your kids are going to provide you with lots of inspiration to create things and work on projects or business ideas that you've been putting off. With Uranus toggling and back and forth between your 6th house and your 7th house, it's been transiting your 6th house for some time. So maybe there's been some unusual, unpredictable experiences that have been happening in your workplace, or when it comes to your finances, things have been somewhat up and down, unpredictable. Maybe you've been feeling more impatient when it comes to who you're working with, and like you want to be more authentic. Maybe you're quitting your jobs, or you've quit your jobs because you're just like, you know what, I can just do better by myself, or I'd rather do something I'm passionate about versus being here working with people who are unreliable. So there might be some unusual experiences that have been up and down for you since 2016. But with Uranus transiting your 7th house here, there's also going to be an opportunity for you to network or connect with people or partnerships or meet people here. Like I'm seeing a contract. So if you're writing an album, I'm seeing you line up a contract with someone or partnering with someone randomly who you wouldn't think would typically support you, but they're going to be the right fit for you. And intuitively, you're going to know who's going to be the right fit for you to work with, for you to network with. These people are going to be reliable. So with Uranus and Taurus, they're innovative, they're different, they have a unique approach to what they do and maybe how they make their money, but they're consistent and they get the work done, is what I'm hearing. That may be also a time, if you have a partner, it could be a time for you to date. You might meet some people you enjoy having fun with or going on dates with. Or it could be a time where your partner's experiencing some unusual positive experiences when it comes to their business or leadership opportunities. With Jupiter toggling back and forth between Gemini in your 8th house and your 9th house. So like I said, again, psychic intuitive abilities are going to be heightened because, Gemini can be actually very psychic, lots of ideas and insight. Pluto is also in the 3rd house, so lots of psychic insight is coming through for you. You want to take advantage of that. There might be some sort of random inheritance. So maybe you're not called to work that hard and make money and whatnot. You're more called towards your passions and what you really want to do, or spending time with your family. But that's where your attention wants to go. And don't worry about the finances, because with this Jupiter here in Gemini, and it's going to be looking at Sagittarius in the 2nd house, you might just have some random lump, I feel like you're going to be taken care of financially, Scorpio. You are a wealthy sign too. You guys are very good at obtaining your desires, but there's going to be some blessing where you're going to get some support when it comes to finances. The universe is going to take care of you this year. It's going to give you a boost. It's going to help you out so that you can spend more time doing what you want to do and working on that album, that book, or that project that you've been putting off. With Jupiter transiting your 9th house, this would be a really good opportunity for you to meet a guru or a teacher, spiritual leader, or a mentor who can help you out, who can give you some insight. I think it's also a very good blessing for you to meet perhaps a future partner, because Jupiter could be a significator for a husband, or Jupiter is just in general a blessing for meeting someone who's significant in your life. And it being in Cancer, which is a relationship energy as well, you might really be feeling the love with those who you're connecting with on a philosophical level. You're just like, oh my gosh, yes, we're vibing. We think very similarly. They're inspiring me. Maybe you're feeling very inspired by this person who can teach you. It's someone like a teacher, someone who can teach you, someone who can give you really good advice on how to do things and how to work on yourself. So you'll be feeling really inspired when it comes to that area of life. You might also be called to do some long distance travels. Maybe there's somewhere you've been wanting to travel for some time, and you might have an opportunity to do that this year. With K2 transiting your 10th house, again, I feel like there's going to be less of a desire on ambitions or focus on ambitions, but it's going to work out for you in the long run. Less of intense focus on you needing to be ambitious, you needing to be out there interacting with people or whatnot. You're going to be picky and intentional about who you want to hang out with this year, Scorpio. So that's your 2025 transit reading. I hope it's going to be a great one for you guys. Best of luck. Hey Sagittarius, so this is going to be your transit reading for 2025. So it looks like Pluto is going to be transiting your second house of finances, or it's going to continue transiting your second house of finances, how you're making money. So what this does is it brings some unpredictability, and it's bringing up a lot of subconscious fears and also desires when it comes to finances. You know, what you typically prefer, what doesn't work, what does work for you. So a lot of those energies or thoughts or ideas or fears, subconscious desires have been showing up for you to re-examine how do you like to approach things differently. But with Pluto being in Capricorn, an earth sign in the second house, it's still helping you to build your ambitions, to build your resources. You're just having to take a deeper introspective approach to it. So as opposed to, you know, you being Sagittarius, you're willing to be like this fiery energy that just like puts out good vibes into the world, perhaps, or strong, powerful spurts of energy into this world to accomplish your goals. You're being asked to be much more introspective about yourself. So it's like processing your energy, processing those releases is what's going to help to bring in financial opportunities for you. So continue to do that and go through your own personal transformation. You've been also going through a powerful transformation when it comes to your value, how you see yourself. Perhaps you didn't realize that you had high expectations for yourself, and now you're realizing it. You know what? Maybe I should just relax on those expectations. Hey Sagittarius, I'm back. I ran out of space, so I had to come back. Okay, so I think we talked about, what did we talk about with you guys? We talked about Pluto being in your second house. Okay, so Rahu is going to be in your third house when it comes to short-term travels. I feel like this is a really good opportunity for you to write, to talk, to speak. To write, to talk, to speak. There's going to be some wonderful networking opportunities that shows up for you, especially with Jupiter being in Gemini in your seventh house. Some kind of contract or networking connection opportunity that's going to show up for you, where it's going to bring a blessing into your life. And it's going to reflect in your business aspirations and opportunities. So this could be also a time for you to explore your talents, your creative abilities. You know, with Uranus having transited your fifth house, perhaps you've been feeling very creative. You've been feeling very attuned with your creative insights and abilities and trying out different things, what works and what doesn't work. And I think this is going to be a year for you to publish it, to put it out, to try it, to see if it, you know, to share it with an audience, to network and to connect with people through your writing, through your words in some way. This could also be a year where your siblings might be experiencing some kind of significant change or shift in their life as well. So Saturn and Neptune are going to be in the fourth house in Pisces, and they're going to be feeding somewhat some energy into the third house, because Saturn is the original ruler of Aquarius. So there's going to be, maybe you're going to be feeling called to communicate in a way that's more flowy, more attuned, more intuitive, as opposed to feeling like you need to be fixated. But you like to be inspired, so I feel like this is right up your alley in terms of how you want to do things. Neptune and Saturn are also going to be aspecting your 10th house of reputation. So whatever it is you're doing, working on behind the scenes for yourself is going to be paying off in terms of helping you to grow in your reputation when it comes to your business, your life purpose, and your career fields in terms of what you're wanting to share. So I feel like this is going to be the year where you really define what it is that you want to do and you put it out there. But this is coming from all of that internalized experience of you building your own self-worth and you being very decisive on what it is that you want to do and who it is that you want to be. And it's going to come from a space of, oh, I want to inspire in this way. I want to create in this way. This is the kind of creative energy I want to put out into the world. So you might be wanting to monetize on your intuitive, your creative insights that you've been receiving. This would be a really good year for that. With Uranus transiting your 5th house and talking back between your 5th house and your 6th house, so there might be some unusual experiences that have been happening. Perhaps if you have kids, maybe they've been going through some very unique experiences or reinventive experiences within themselves, reinventing themselves. Perhaps you've been going through a powerful reinventive phase for yourself. So perhaps you've been reinventing yourself and figuring out, well, how would I like to authentically express myself? Maybe you feel like you've been called to express yourself in a much more rebellious way than you typically would in the past. And I'm seeing lots of support in you doing that. With Uranus transiting your 6th house, this could be like work life or routine. There may be a bit of unpredictability that's showing up in your work environment or in your day-to-day life routine. Be open to the randomness is what I'm hearing for you. Be very much open to the randomness that wants to show up in your life this year, and it's already been showing up for you. You've already been experiencing some be very open to the adventure is what I'm hearing for you. So Uranus being in Taurus in the 6th house of, it could be like debt or health. Make sure you are paying attention to what it is that you're eating. Make sure that you are taking care of your health. There might be some unexpected shifts in maybe when it comes to your loans or your debt. There might be some like financial opportunities that show up where those debts are taken care of somewhat, but it's going to be up and down, like spurts of that is going to show up in your life. With Jupiter transiting your 7th house and your 8th house, this is going to be a really good opportunity for you to perhaps date. To meet someone. This could be a life partner, this could be a business partner. This is someone who you're really going to enjoy talking to, so that's going to be a huge clue, and who inspires you. So this is someone you enjoy talking to, who feels like a best friend, who inspires you. And with Jupiter looking at you, your sun, your moon, or your ascendant, this person, whoever is coming into your life, whether it's a business partner or a life partner, or if you already have a life partner in your life, they're going to be bringing blessings into your life. So this person's going to be feeling like a huge blessing in your life where they're going to help you out, or they're just going to bring some comedic relief and relaxation and lighthearted energy into your life and insight. So you guys are going to have like really great conversations, and you're going to feel like this person has a different perspective than you, but they can help you. They can guide you. They can relate to you as well, because they like to be inspired. With Jupiter transiting your 8th house, so there might be unexpected growth in finances. This could be like your partner's going through unexpected growth in their finances, but this could also be like unexpected inheritance or wealth that shows up for you. Jupiter will be conjunct Venus at one point, so I feel like there's going to be a really incredible opportunity for you, Sagittarius, to experience a huge windfall blessing out of the blue, shows up in your life just like bam. Is going to be huge. This could also, 8th house is about transformation. So whatever subconscious beliefs and desires, fears or desires that you've been transmuting is going to help to bring blessings into your life. So whatever transformative energies you're willing to push through, you're willing to work on yourself, that's going to pay off in terms of blessing you. With K2 being in Leo in the 9th house, so maybe you're going to feel like taking more of your own advice or your partner's advice, but less advice from either a teacher or a guru or a mentor. You know, like typically sometimes if someone wants to build their business, maybe they would hire a coach. So this is going to be a year where you're like, you know what, maybe I don't need that person's advice on what it is I need to do. Maybe I could just trust myself. So I think you're going to be your main guru. This year, you're going to be leading yourself in terms of what inspires you and what works for you. And this is going to come from those psychic intuitive insights, collective intuitive insights that you are receiving. That's going to help you to advance. So that's what I'm seeing for your 2025 Sagittarius. Best of luck. Hey Capricorn, so this is what your 2025 is looking like. Pluto has been transiting your first house. So you've been going through some powerful, intense transformations. Perhaps your business has been. If you have a business, if you've been wanting to build a business, sometimes, Capricorn energy likes to be ambitious. It likes to work towards its goals, but there's been some unpredictability that's been showing up for you. That's because you're being called to transmute subconscious fears and desires that you have. So this is all about what you need to do, what personal transformation you need to go on. So the more that you put that work into yourself, and to me, with this connection to the third house and the Rahu being in your second house, the more you put work into valuing yourself and understanding your worth, the more your prosperity would go up. So the more you value yourself, the more your prosperity will go up. Definitely pay attention to that. So unexpected transformations. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you're taking care of your health. Your health may be going through some ups and downs. But again, this is all coming from subconscious things, karmic energies that are not being processed. If you process it, the more your health will improve. Second house too, with Rahu being in Aquarius, that could be about the food that you're consuming. So just make sure you're being disciplined, with that energy from Saturn. Make sure you're being disciplined about what you're consuming. The more disciplined you are about what you consume mentally, but also ingest into your body, the more your constitution, your physical constitution will improve. So there's going to be some opportunities for you to expand when it comes to your reputation, when it comes to your resources. So there may be a nice boost that's showing up when it comes to your resources this year, but definitely make sure this is going to be due to and connected to your ability to communicate your ideas effectively. So communication is going to be very important. Making sure that you're working on speaking up if you need something to get done. If you need to delegate, make sure you delegate and let people know this is what we need to do. But at the same time, it's also an opportunity with Saturn and Neptune being in Pisces. Don't be so serious. This is definitely a year for you to take the load off in terms of not taking yourself too seriously. Your co-workers will respect you a lot more, and they will actually give you those blessings. With Jupiter being in the 6th house, that could be about our work life too. If you're willing to be more open-minded to people being flawed, or to even yourself, don't speak so harshly towards yourself about things, then you will see your finances improve this year. So Saturn and Neptune are going to be in Pisces in your 3rd house. 3rd house can be a talented hobby house, so it'd be a really good year for you to explore different hobbies and interests. This will also help you to feel a lot more relaxed within yourself as well. So you might be taking up some sort of hobby that you start taking really seriously this year and wanting to put more work into. There might be some kind of project you've been putting off. You might even be feeling called to creatively write something this year. Out of the blue, you're just like, what? I want to write a little book, or just start journaling more. And the journaling will help to process your dreams. You'll also get some great advice, some intuitive advice about what you need to do in order for your work life to improve. You're going to give yourself great advice just by tuning in through journaling and self-reflection. So make sure you do that this year. That's going to be a huge theme for you. With Uranus toggling back and forth between your 4th house and your 5th house, there might be some unexpected experiences, up and downs happening around home life, but it's all there to help you. So Uranus has been transiting Kritika. Kritika is all about this purification fire. So you've been challenged with learning how to be more of a leader, maybe in your home. How would you like to run your home? How would you like to direct your home life? How would maybe you've been approaching it in a very creative, unique, innovative way as opposed to how you typically would. Maybe your home life has been more creative. Maybe you're interested in renovation or decorating things differently this year. You have been doing that and working on that, and that's what's been helping to bring you more comfort and excitement into your home life. Uranus is also going to be transiting into Taurus in your 5th house. So again, there's talents, there's creative ability that's going to be coming out, becoming more apparent. There might actually be some sort of creative project with Uranus transiting into Taurus, so a possibility for you to ground an idea into reality that you've been putting off, something that you can monetize. Like I'm seeing someone create something on Etsy and sell it. So maybe there's something like a side hustle that you're wanting to create where you can monetize it. This could also be advice. Maybe you've learned some great advice. You want to pass on some wisdom or some advice to people about how to build their business, or there may be some ideas, some wisdom you've gained that have worked for you, some insight about things that have worked for you, or advices that other people have given to you that have worked for you that you feel like could help other people too. You personally are going through a lot of interesting changes and transformations. Maybe you're wanting to dress different, approach things differently, show people a different side of your personality. Definitely enjoy reinventing yourself. With Rahu transiting into your second house in Aquarius, you're definitely feeling called to bring out more of that unique side to you as opposed to the predictable side. With you being an earth signs always like routine, but this is definitely a year for you to pull away from your routine and enjoy the randomness of your life experiences. You might also be going through some fun adventures with your children as well. Your children might be experiencing some interesting ups and downs in their life. I mean, Uranus is a rebel, so maybe your kids are feeling more rebellious in their expression and what they want to do, but it feels very creative, and as long as they channel it towards something creative, I think it's going to be fine. So with Jupiter in transiting your 6th house in Gemini, so Jupiter is about blessings, so there might be some blessing or protection granted towards you when it comes to your work environment or your work opportunities. I'm definitely seeing a blessing coming when it comes to your work opportunities, with the North Node being in your 2nd house as well. And Venus at some point is going to conjunct Jupiter in Cancer in the 7th house, and that will help to give you a boost when it comes to your reputation. So there might be an opportunity for promotion for you this year. I'm seeing that. Or, if you don't have a job or you're looking for something, there's going to be an opportunity for you to create a dream job opportunity for yourself that you've been wanting to do. But this is all going to come through diligence. Jupiter in 6th house does still make you work. So this is going to come through you diligently working on, putting effort into, consistently working on something here. But communication is a huge theme for you. Just make sure you are being more direct with people and you're communicating your ideas. Don't keep to yourself. Don't hold back. Don't hold back in terms of hold back your ideas. If you have an idea, share it with someone, because I feel like this is going to be the year where someone's going to look at you and they're going to say, you know what, that's a great idea. So it's also going to be granting you protection when it comes to your constitution and your health. With Rahu in the 2nd house, there can be a little bit of unpredictability in terms of what you're eating or ingesting. But I think Jupiter in the 6th house can grant you better energy, like more energy when it comes to your health. When Jupiter is transiting different nakshatras in Gemini, you might have a point in time where you're overthinking a lot, but definitely make sure to let that go and not be too hard on yourself. So Capricorn, with Jupiter transiting into your 7th house in Cancer. So at some point, Jupiter is going to conjunct Venus in the 7th house, and this is going to bring that lucky yoga in your 7th house. So I feel like this would be a really good opportunity or time for you to meet partnerships. Could be a business partner, could be a life partner. This would be a really good time where you're going to either get some more support when it comes to your partnerships, or your partnerships are going to bring blessings to you. It's going to definitely feel very optimistic, loving, and very warm-hearted. With Ketu transiting your 8th house, what I'm picking up from you is that, Ketu can be connected to past lives, and it's relatively comfortable in the 8th house. So you might feel like you're being connected to somewhat of your intuitive insight. or your past life gifts, because I'm seeing like with the third house and the fifth house, there's like some talents and some gifts and some intuitive abilities that are showing up. This would be a good year for you to really work on those creative projects and hobbies, things that you've set aside. Not take things so seriously, but instead really focus on what's fun. Ask yourself, what's fun? What am I passionate about? What do I really want to do? That would be the year for that for you. K2 also grants protection in the 8th house, because 8th house can be unstable and unpredictable. With you having gone through so much personal transformation, I feel like this year you're going to feel much more relieved. This is going to be a year where you get somewhat of a break when it comes to that very intense transformation that you're going through. So that's going to be your 2025 transit. Best of luck to you, Capricorn. Hey Aquarius, so this is what your transits are looking like. So Rahu is going to be transiting your first house, which means that you personally are going to maybe grow in your reputation, your popularity, maybe even fame. You know, Aquarius, as we know, is already connected to fame. If you have your moon sign there, moon is connected to the masses. So there's going to be this strong magnetism that shows up for you when it comes to the masses this year. You might see a sudden rise in your followers or your subscriber accounts, subscribers this year. So it's Saturn and Neptune being in Pisces when it comes to your second house. So there's going to be some like unusual, unpredictable experiences that shows up when it comes to your finances and your resources. But it's going to feel very lucky. So Saturn brings stability to your second house. So this is going to ask for you to work. Make sure you double check. I'm hearing like taxes. Make sure you're double checking where your payments are going. Whoever you're connecting to with financially, this is going to be a year where you want to be responsible when it comes to that, because Saturn brings that extra bit of responsibility. If you don't double check your work in that area, then things can kind of fall away, and Neptune can create delusions. So when it comes to business opportunities, just make sure you're really double checking and reading the fine print of whoever it is that you're networking with or you're working with this year. That's going to be very important. Saturn and Neptune are also granting energy towards your first house. So this is going to give you a bit of a dreamy magnetic appeal this year, where people are going to really look up to you. You know, sometimes Aquarius has a bit of a cult like energy, cult leader energy. There might be a little bit of that where people are very much attaching to you, or attaching to your image, or attaching to your insight, or attaching to whatever it is. You're going to find yourself drawing in and magnetizing to you some very devoted fans of your work this year, but just make sure you're staying grounded and sincere in what you do, and you won't have to worry about that playing out in a negative way. So your finances might be experiencing some unusual ups and downs and unexpected, just resources just showing up for you, the money that you're needing just showing up for you, wealth kind of showing up for you this year. So that's going to be very fun. Your voice also might have a bit of a dreamy appeal. You're a very communicative sign. You're a very original thinker in your approach. So this might be a really good year for you to definitely network, be on social media, don't hide away. People need to see you, because this is going to be the year for people. People are going to love your voice. They're going to love listening to what it is that you have to say, and feel like there's just so much value to what it is that you have to offer. With Uranus toggling back and forth between your third house and your fourth house, so this means you're going to get you've been getting some original ideas and insights to how you want to be a leader. Uranus has been transiting Kritika Nakshatra, which is about purification through fire and becoming more of that leader that you're being called to be. So you're being called to be a communicative leader. The universe is calling for you to communicate your ideas. You already have some powerful insights. So this is the year. Don't be shy. Be on the internet. Be on the social media. Definitely be sharing. And I feel like you have been, with Uranus having transit your sign since 2016. But just continue to put that work in, and you will be recognized. With Uranus transiting into your fourth house, you might find that your home experience is unusual this year. So you might find yourself traveling or going to a lot of different places, as opposed to wanting to just settle and stay in one place. But you are up for the adventure, I feel. You're up for the unexpected. So with the Uranus also transiting your third house, that's about short-term travel. So I think this year you might also be continuing your short-term travels, or there might be some unusual opportunities for you to stay somewhere randomly that you typically wouldn't stay. So with Jupiter, also Uranus will be looking at your 10th house. So that's going to give you, I think, more of a blessing when it comes to your reputation. Again, people are going to really tune into your insights and your ideas and really appreciate what it is that you have to say and how it is that you approach things. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, that's genius. How did you think of that? Like, where did you get that idea? With Jupiter transiting your 5th house, so you are going to be getting some like powerful creative insights. You're going to be working on some like really creative projects. This is what's going to bring you blessings, is your creative projects and also your communicative projects. So if there's opportunities for you to communicate, to talk, to perhaps speak at a seminar, I feel like that's something like that's going to show up for you, because I'm seeing someone look at you, or people look at you and thinking to themselves, this person needs to be here talking about this. So you're going to get more of a serious official opportunity to really communicate and use your voice and share your ideas with the public. You know, Jupiter is going to be looking at your 11th house of of networking. So double blessing when it comes to networking and sharing your insight. But this is going to be coming through your ideas that you've been journaling about, that you've been thinking about. This is going to be coming through your creative talents. Your unique creative abilities are really going to be shining this year. It's going to be front and center, spotlight. You might also be experiencing some blessings when it comes to your children as well. So there might be some really beautiful, blessed opportunities for you to spend time and have fun with your kids this year if you have them. With Jupiter transiting your 6th house, so this might be an opportunity for you to receive a loan or for you to take care of some kind of financial debt. If you're in a work environment already, your work environment experience might improve during this period. You might be feeling particularly blessed by your coworkers. You might feel like they're really recognizing your hard work and your efforts this year as well. And whatever difficulties that you have been experiencing, when Jupiter transits into Cancer, it's going to almost seem like it dissipates, like it disappears. So if you're feeling some kind of physical ailment, or your health is struggling, your health is going to be able to improve this year. Or if you've been experiencing any kind of difficulty or challenge in life, it's going to improve. There's going to be some sort of solution that shows up for you. With K2 transiting your 7th house, you might actually feel less interested in either dating or putting a lot of focus on your partner, because most of the focus is going to be put on you. So if anything, the partner is going to be focused on you versus you focusing on your partner. So it's going to be more your year to shine when it comes to your ambitions and your ideas. So if you do have a partner around you, they're going to be giving that attention to you. And this person might be going through more of their own detachment phase, where they're just kind of wanting to focus on and be more introverted and focus on what it's more important to them. Also, just make sure if you do have a partner, make sure they're taking care of their health as well and eating okay, because sometimes K2 can bring those unexpected experiences where things are taken away. So if anything, you're going to be a very good support system for this person or your partner if they're going through any kind of struggles. With Pluto transiting your 12th house, so you're going through some really intense transformations when it comes to maybe your psychic abilities, your intuitive insights, when it comes to you wanting to spend more time alone, when it comes to your spiritual relationship with the universe. You're going through some intense transformations, and you're learning the value of commitment to those transformations that you're experiencing behind the scenes. And that behind the scenes transformation that you're going through is actually helping you to be more magnetic in terms of sharing your insight and your ideas. So whatever you're gathering behind the scenes and you're learning about yourself is paying off in terms of you building in your value and understanding your value. So that's going to be the reading, your 2025 transit. I hope it's great for you guys, Capricorn. Aquarius. I hope it's going to be a best of luck, Aquarius. Pisces, you're the final sign. My goodness, these readings took a lot longer than I was expecting, but it's fine. I'm having fun. All right, Pisces. So this year is going to be very interesting for you. So we have Saturn and Neptune in your 1st house. this is going to give you mixed results. Now, Saturn puts pressure on a person. We also have the North Node in the 12th house, which is a very introverted house. So I feel like you're going to be granted, it could be like an opportunity or more responsibility this year. What's going to help you to balance out your energy or any tension you're feeling is to make sure you're spending time by yourself, to make sure you're rejuvenating, to make sure you're taking care of yourself behind the scenes. So I see there could be an opportunity for growth in your reputation, but for the most part, it's going to feel like responsibility. Make sure you're taking care of your health, because Saturn can put that pressure on our constitution, on our physical well-being. Make sure you take care of your health. There's a little bit of unpredictability showing up when it comes to your health. If you're disciplined, if you're eating the way that you need to, you're taking care of your body, you're exercising, you will be fine. If you are not doing that, it will feel more intense, like more pressure for you. With Neptune being there, there's going to be an opportunity, something that you're wanting to do, some sort of blessing that's going to be showing up for you this year. It could also be an opportunity for you to show up differently for yourself as well. So you might be feeling quite, maybe lately you've been feeling quite inspired, like you want to try out different things. Maybe energy's been unpredictable. And perhaps with Saturn joining Neptune, that will bring more stability to the unpredictability and the ups and downs that you have been experiencing. But I'm hearing accountability is what's important for you. The more you take accountability for whatever you're experiencing and understand that you are the decider of whether things get to work out or things don't get to work out, you're the one who gets to decide, how your attitude of gratitude is the most important thing. So just make sure you're bringing a good attitude to everything yourself, and that will pay off. So Neptune can bring on, again, I'm getting like mixed results or mixed energy here. So sometimes people can project onto you, and they can project, it could be things from like fantasies to, they can project fears onto you as well, or issues. So just know that there's going to be a little bit of unpredictability when it comes to projections, but I think Saturn's going to grant you protection and make sure you're okay and it doesn't get too out of hand. Whatever those projections are, watch out for that. A little bit of unpredictability there. But this might also be a year for you to experience your own personal adventures, things that you've been wanting to do. Have fun. Do things that you want to do things that you really want to do that are fun. With Uranus transiting sorry, I'm getting tired. With Uranus transiting toggling back and forth between Aries in your second house and your third house, I feel like there's sort of like spurts of opportunities that you've been experiencing when it comes to leadership and like perhaps promotions, and there's a continuous theme of that showing up for you. I feel like financially things are going to be stabilizing, or you're going to be taken care of, and whatever you need is going to be showing up in your reality. With Uranus transiting into a third house, I think you're going to get some really creative, insightful ideas, either when it comes to building your finances or just creative things that you've been wanting to do, or projects that you've been wanting to do, or maybe like renovation, house building, things that are hands-on that you've been wanting to create and make. This is what's going to be growing as well. And then you're getting that blessing in the home life with Jupiter transiting your fourth house. So I feel like when it comes to home life and children, this is where you're going to be wanting to spend most of your time, is with your kids or at home. So either you're moving, you could be purchasing a new home, you could be spending a lot of time with your kids, but this is going to be a blessed opportunity. If you purchase a new home, it's going to be a home that you actually want. You're going to enjoy it. It's going to feel like such a blessing to you. Your kids are going to enjoy it as well. So really beautiful blessed opportunity will show up for you there, but definitely pay attention. At some point, Jupiter is going to retrograde into Gemini. Make sure whenever you purchase, whatever big purchase, when it comes to it could be a car or a house, make sure you double check the contract, make sure it's exactly what you want. You do your research, you take your time. Don't rush anything. Don't rush any big purchases this year. With Jupiter transiting your 5th house of children, I feel like your children are going to be feeling quite healthy or blessed, or there's going to be beautiful, blessed opportunities showing up for them if you've been wanting to have kids. When Jupiter transits the 5th house, this is a good time to procreate. It's also a really good time to procreate when it comes to your creative ideas and endeavors. So things that you've been wanting to do creatively, this is going to be a year for you to tune into that, your creativity versus, work or taking things so seriously. So Jupiter will grant you that blessing. And when it conjuncts Venus, you're really going to be feeling it. Like, whatever creative ideas or projects or fantasies you've been wanting to experience, you'll get to do that this year. With K2 transiting your 6th house, I feel like this is bringing you protection or stability when it comes to your work life. With K2 transiting your 6th house, I feel like this is going to grant you protection when it comes to any kind of difficulties you've been going through. This will feel like a year where you're alleviated somewhat of any kind of, could be like financial challenges, or could be like workplace challenges you've been experiencing. This is going to be the year where that is pulled away. But going back to Saturn, sometimes Saturn can bring anxiety, especially in the 1st house. Just make sure you are journaling or you're processing and you're enjoying your peaceful experience at home. That's what's going to help to feed into your peace that you experience elsewhere and help to take care of your anxiety. Make sure you address any kind of anxiousness or anxiety that you've been typically avoiding. So the North Node is going to be in your 12th house. 12th house is a passive house and a behind the scenes house. So you are going to enjoy spending more time behind the scenes by yourself, maybe even exploring your spirituality in depth a lot more this year. And with Neptune being in Pisces, I think you might be feeling called to even share your spiritual experiences with other people, whatever it is you're going through behind the scenes. Aquarius sometimes can bring unusual, unique approaches to spirituality. So maybe this is going to be the year where you're thinking to yourself, you know what, I don't need this specific type of routine. I want to be really open to trying out different things or different philosophies or concepts that connect with me. North Node being in the 12th house can also be a very psychic energy that you're being tuned into. So this would be a really good time for you to tune into journaling and to use those journaling insights to give you advice on what it is that you're needing, because you're getting very powerful downloads from the divine this year. With Pluto transiting your 11th house of social network, maybe your social network has been going through a lot of transformations. But to me, with Saturn being the ruler of Capricorn energy and being in your 1st house, I feel like this is going to be an opportunity for you to align with people who you relate to. I feel like that's what's coming up soon this year. Maybe you've been feeling somewhat isolated this past year in terms of who you can connect with and who you can relate to. But I think this is going to be a year where you find yourself aligning with and connecting with people who match more of your ideas and your concepts. But again, I want to emphasize there's going to be a strong importance around you spending time at home that's going to help you to really alleviate any kind of stress. Also, with Uranus in the 3rd house, that's also a really good opportunity for you to network, particularly with people who are leaders, who are go-getters, people who are really focused on doing the work, who don't skip around, who do not take shortcuts. That's the people who you want to surround yourself with, and that's who's going to inspire you to stay focused on your goals. All right, so that's what I'm seeing for you, Pisces, for 2025. Best of luck. Bye.